Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Hokage. My brother is Uchiha Madara. Chapter 41. Uchiha Ming directly passed the first mission. He could still distinguish between an aging clan leader and a rising pillar of the family. Of course, the most important thing is that Uchiha Tajima gave him a mission, while Uchiha Yu didn't care about him at all. The former only knew how to draw pie in the sky, while the latter, even if he was not very interested in his loyalty, would always make him grow. Sometimes, Uchiha Ming would have an inexplicable illusion. He felt that Uchiha Yu was more like a clan leader. Uchiha Madara left, taking his beloved Odudo with him. Before leaving, Izuna still had a smile on his face, which made Uchiha Yu couldn't help but suppress the other party, and the complacent Izuna barked at Uchiha Yu like a defeated dog. However, he still left with a grudge and followed Uchiha Madara. Looking at the people going away, Uchiha Ming beside Uchiha Yu asked softly, "Master Yu, what should we do next?" "Everything should be the same as before." "As before? Why do you think Chief Tajima asked me to stay here?" Uchiha Ming was silent for a while when he heard Uchiha Yu's question. During the period of returning to the clan, Uchiha Ming naturally had a detailed understanding of the internal affairs of the family. The most important thing was that he had contact with the current chief of the Uchiha clan and even did a lot of things for him. From his perspective, Uchiha Tajima is a qualified superior, with the absolute pride and talent of Uchiha, and is considered a good leader. From the perspective of a father and clan leader, Uchiha Tajima's seemingly fair appearance is secretly revealing his selfish desires. Uchiha Yu is very talented, and anyone who has been in contact with Yu for a long time knows this, including Uchiha Madara, the son of the clan leader. Uchiha Ming does not believe that the clan leader does not know this. However, it was Uchiha Yu who turned the tide this time, making the originally meaningless battle have a good harvest, and also destroyed a stronghold belonging to the Senju. However, Uchiha Yu stayed. All the glory and honor should be added to Uchiha Madara. Although Madara is also good, even as a leader, his merits cannot be ignored. However, Uchiha Tajima's approach made Uchiha Ming feel a little disappointed. The Uchiha clan allows the emergence of geniuses, but it seems that geniuses stronger than Madara are not allowed to appear. Even if there are geniuses, they have to make concessions. Therefore, what Uchiha Yu said as usual means that everything is normal, and there is no merit or overachievement during this period, and it is fine to get through the impact of this battle. "I understand, Master Yu." Uchiha Ming spoke, with a little unwillingness in his expression, which made Uchiha Yu a little confused. "Do you really understand?" "I understand, Master Yu, there is no need to say anything more. Ming will not let you down and will make everything in Baiwu Town normal." Uchiha Ming nodded seriously, which made Uchiha Yu feel relieved, but he always felt something was wrong. Baiwu Town is located in the middle of the territory controlled by Uchiha. Although it is close to the sea and there will be harassment from overseas ninjas, it is safe most of the time. Compared with facing the elite of the Senju clan head-on, this is really a safe place. If possible, Uchiha Yu wants to retire here and survive until he reaches the Six Paths level before coming out. In this way, Uchiha Yu's rare peaceful time has arrived. During this period, except for Uchiha Ming reporting the situation every month and asking about simple development issues in Baiwu Town, he basically didn't have to ask anything else. Uchiha Yu was immersed in practice throughout the whole process, and finally completed the last attribute of the living body technique after more than half a year of persistence. As for the power of wind attribute, after the body was completely transformed, Uchiha Yu felt that his body generated a kinetic energy. The power of wind is a moving energy. Driven by this energy, Uchiha Yu felt that his body was like a machine that suddenly added energy, connecting the special talents of fire attribute, thunder attribute, water attribute, and earth attribute, and merging them together, forming a strange cycle in Uchiha Yu's body. At first, Uchiha Yu did not realize the usefulness of this cycle. However, as time went by, he gradually discovered the difference in his body. From that day on, he found that he digested food very quickly and could even control his own energy consumption. The most intuitive manifestation of this process is that he can eat himself into a fat man in one day. Then after a sleep, he can rely on the energy consumption cycle of the body. Let himself lose weight again the next day. During this process of gaining weight and losing weight, Uchiha Yu's strength, physical strength, endurance, and even recovery ability are all steadily improving. Although this process is not fast, it is a very considerable improvement over time. If appropriate physical training is performed, this growth effect will be even more gratifying. After discovering this, Uchiha Yu added physical training to his daily training. Although the Uchiha clan does not have a particularly famous bodybuilding method, there is a living body technique. He only needs to do the simplest exercise and constantly challenge the limit, and his whole body can be tempered together. Time is always the most ruthless thing. Unknowingly, Uchiha Yu has reached the age of 7. At the compensation point, it is time for the release again. This time, Uchiha Yu's eyes wandered in 2 directions while looking at the data panel. Name: Uchiha Yu. Age: 7. Talent: diligence can make up for one's shortcomings. Skills: Chakra Refining Technique LVMAX, Instant Body Technique LVMAX, Flame Sword Technique LVMAX, Vivification Technique LVMAX, Great Fireball Technique LV6, Throwing Technique LV7, Transformation Technique LV5, Substitution Technique LV3, Clone Technique LV3, 1 Magatama Sharingan LV4, Seal Technique LV2, Eye Concentration Technique LV4. Compensation points: 1. Backpack. Several items. Chakra Refining Technique, and Vivification Technique. This time, Uchiha Yu is going to try to break through his skills. Now, he has 2 aspects that need to be improved. First, the upper limit and control of chakra. Chakra Refining Technique is at the full level, which basically fixes his upper limit and can only be improved as he grows. Although he already has a chakra amount comparable to that of an elite Jonin, these chakras are not enough for him to brush up his skill proficiency. After all, ninjutsu requires chakra, flame swordsmanship requires chakra, and even when practicing physical skills, chakra must be used. But his chakra is fixed, and once consumed, it must be restored before continuing to practice. This process takes too long. Therefore, he really hopes that his chakra amount can be improved on his own basis, or that the control of chakra can be improved, so that the consumption when brushing skills can be greatly reduced. As for the living body technique, there is no need to say more. At this moment, he already has 5 attributes: fire, thunder, wind, earth, and water. With the yin escape that comes with the Sharingan, there are 6 attributes. The final operation of the living body technique accelerates the body's absorption and consumption of nutrients, which brings him an increase in physical fitness. Although he is not sure about this performance, he has already guessed it. It is very likely that the yang escape power in his body is accumulating. The simple extreme change of the attribute of the living body technique gives him such precision, so what if he goes a step further and changes the nature on the basis of the change of form? For example, the change of the nature of the thunder attribute. Can he develop Reikiri, or achieve the strongest contradiction like the 3rd generation Reikage? Thinking about how he tempered his body to be as iron and steel, and it was indestructible, he felt excited. However, after hesitating for a long time, Uchiha Yu finally chose the chakra refining technique. Chakra is the foundation of ninja power. The sooner the foundation is laid, the better. Moreover, there is another reason for not choosing the living body technique breakthrough. That is, his physique is still too fragile now. After all, the nature change and body tempering is too dangerous. If he is not careful, it may cause irreparable damage. Therefore, he plans to wait for a few years until his body reaches sufficient strength under the warming of the activation technique cycle before trying the nature change. At that time, it may be possible to achieve twice the result with half the effort. Having made a decision, Uchiha Yu chose the chakra refining technique. The next moment, Uchiha Yu felt a surge of information in his mind. The chakra refining technique, which had already reached an extremely proficient level, suddenly changed and formed another system. When the chakra refining technique is at the full level, Uchiha Yu can easily refine the cell energy in the body, and then combine it with the spiritual energy to form chakra, and then enter the dantian through the tendons and veins for storage, waiting to be used when performing ninjutsu. And now, Uchiha Yu's mind has an idea. How to better control the chakra of the body. All kinds of thoughts emerged in Uchiha Yu's mind, and then little by little, Uchiha Yu thought of the physical conditions he knew in his past and present lives. Gradually, a new method quickly formed in Uchiha Yu's consciousness. Based on the dantian and the tendons and veins, let the chakra build a circulation structure in the body, let the chakra circulate in the body continuously, and refine it again and again through the body circulation, and even reach the level that can be reabsorbed by the body cells. This is the chakra refining technique. Why does this look more and more like a martial arts technique? Uchiha Yu woke up from the perception of the compensation point, and his face was very strange. Open the data panel to check the skills. Name: Uchiha Yu. Age: 7. Talent: diligence can make up for one's shortcomings. Skills: Chakra Refining Technique LVMAX 1/2, Instant Body Technique LVMAX, Flame Sword Technique LVMAX, Living Body Technique LVMAX, Great Fireball Technique LV6, Throwing Technique LV7, Transformation Technique LV5, Substitution Technique LV4, Clone Technique LV5, 1 Magatama Sharingan LV5, Seal Technique LV4, Eye Concentration Technique LV5. Compensation points: 0. Backpack. Several items. Chakra Refining Technique became Chakra Refining Technique. Moreover, a bracketed data appeared after Chakra Refining Technique. Chakra Refining Technique 1/2. Using the compensation points this time, Uchiha Yu successfully broke through the Chakra Refining Technique and turned it into Refining Technique. However, it seems that because of insufficient compensation points, the Chakra Refining Technique is not complete. According to the deduction under the blessing of compensation points, the Chakra Refining Technique can not only refine the chakra, so that Uchiha Yu can control the chakra to the extreme, but also allow the chakra to be reabsorbed by the cells after the extreme refinement, thus affecting his control over the body. At this moment, Uchiha Yu can only do the former. However, even so, Uchiha Yu still feels that he has been promoted to a higher level. The Body Flash Technique, the Flame Sword Technique, and the Living Body Technique are all amplified because of the refinement of chakra. The Body Flash Technique is more stable and consumes less. The chakra attached to the Flame Sword Technique is more condensed and delicate, the attributes are more concentrated, and it is easier to attach other attributes. The circulation of the Living Body Technique is more delicate, and the absorption and consumption process is faster and more stable. The most important thing is that with the refinement of chakra, the chakra he consumes at this moment is only 1/3 of the original for the same ninjutsu. This is equivalent to having 3 times more chakra usage opportunities than before. So, Uchiha Yu started to eat and exercise hard again. The road of hard consumption and hard practice of ninjutsu. Unknowingly, more than 2 months have passed. Originally, Uchiha Yu felt that he could live such a peaceful and stable life for decades. However, there are always some blind guys who don't want to live like this. For example, other ninja leaders in Baiwu town seem to think that Uchiha Yu is young and doesn't manage things, so they always want to find ways to get more from Uchiha's industry. At the beginning, Uchiha Yu also turned a blind eye based on the idea of a slacker. However, perhaps because this group of people think that Uchiha Yu is a child who is easy to fool, Uchiha Yu inadvertently discovered a secret. There is a problem with the distribution of mineral deposits. It is not a problem at the time of distribution, but a problem in the process of mining and processing. Uchiha Yu compared the mineral resources obtained from mining every year in the past and found that the mineral resources allocated each year were stable within a fixed fluctuation range. A little more, a little less, both. There is nothing to doubt about this. After all, not every place has the same mineral deposits. However, when Uchiha Yu compared the length and area of several mineral deposits, he found something wrong. The degree of mineral excavation is quietly increasing every year. If it is a small increase, it is fine, and it can also be considered that the mineral deposits are unevenly distributed. However, the length of mining is increasing every day, and some mineral deposits even have traces of being filled by earth escape. What does this mean? This means that some people have rashly mined more mineral resources without telling Uchiha, and quietly digested those extra mineral deposits. This link is definitely not something that can be completed by one family in the area monitored by many families. It is a cooperation of multiple families, and even, in addition to Uchiha, other ninja clans may be involved. After discovering this, Uchiha Yu did not say anything to others, but quietly collected some mineral parameters, and then found an opportunity to hand these things over to the family. Uchiha Yu did not say anything about the rest. Life was still normal. Until one night half a month later, Uchiha Yu suddenly felt a noise coming from outside the house, with a hint of killing intent. The killing intent was not directed at him, but it still made him unconsciously open his Sharingan. "Who?" Uchiha Yu shouted to the outside of the house, and the short knife in his hand had been silently drawn. The door slowly opened with a creak. Under the moonlight, 5 or 6 figures stood beside Uchiha Yu. They were all hidden under black cloaks, and only a few pairs of scarlet Sharingan flashed from under the cloaks. And each of them was 3 Magatama. "Uchiha Yu, by the order of the clan leader, stay here for 7 days. During this time, I will listen to your orders." The leader spoke with a hoarse and low voice, and the aura of oppression all over his body, combined with the current scene, gave people a very creepy feeling. However, after Uchiha Yu heard the content of the other party's words, his face was stunned. After a moment of silence, he casually asked, "Chief, do you have any instructions?" "Oh, boy, you are smarter than I thought." Quote. The chief's only instructions are that no matter what happens in Baiwu Town, it cannot affect the core battle line, and Baiwu Town must be firmly in the hands of Uchiha. "I see, I understand." Uchiha laughed when he heard the other party's answer. In the next few days, everything seemed to have never happened. Until one day a few days later, Baiwu Town, the Hyuga clan garrisoned ninjas were invaded by a group of ninjas. All Hyuga ninjas were killed and their eyes were dug out by the other party. In the end, only one Hyuga lower ninja was left and was protected and hidden by the Hyuga clan ninjas, so he escaped. After this incident, the entire Baiwu Town was shocked. When Uchiha Yu heard about this, he immediately summoned other ninjas to go to the Hyuga clan to protect that ninja. Through understanding, everyone realized that it was a group of very powerful ninjas, and even if they were placed in a large family, they were definitely elite ninjas. The ninjas of the Hyuga branch were completely powerless in front of this group of people. Even the strongest Hyuga clan stationed in the branch, who was proficient in Kaden and Soft Fist, could not get away with a single move from the leading thief. According to observation, the thieves were good at fire escape, and they did not use any fire escape, only the Uchiha's great fireball technique, and also used a move similar to the Uchiha flame sword technique. However, the other party still revealed some flaws after all. Because their leader, in addition to performing flame sword technique and fire escape, also has extraordinary physical skills and abundant chakra, which is definitely not something that Uchiha can have. Moreover, before the death of the Hyuga clan, he also called out a name. The Senju clan. After hearing this, everyone was silent, and finally, under the leadership of Uchiha Yu, they notified the Hyuga clan of this matter. A few days later, the Hyuga clan sent ninjas over. The Hyuga ninja repeated what he had seen to the people at the Hyuga headquarters. After hearing this, the people at the Hyuga headquarters denied the incident. They said that the ninja from their family must have been stimulated during the battle, so they were talking nonsense. How could the elite troops of the Senju clan appear in Baiwu Town? However, Uchiha Yu shook his head to express his disagreement, and mentioned the Senju ninja he met during the previous mission. In this regard, the Hyuga clan decisively denied it, thinking that the Hyuga ninja must have been under an illusion and his memory was tampered with. Hearing this, Uchiha Yu was no longer friendly, his face sank, and he said in a cold voice that the Uchiha clan was best at illusions, and the attacker was also good at fire escape and flame swordsmanship. It seemed that the Uchiha clan had the guts to destroy the Hyuga clan. Uchiha Yu said so. In fact, it is almost true. The Hyuga clan may even understand that all this is a conspiracy of the Uchiha clan, but at this moment, not only can they not admit it, but they also have to help the Uchiha clan clarify it. Because now is the time when the Uchiha and the Senju clan are fighting fiercely, the Uchiha clan cannot offend the Hyuga clan at this juncture and push the Hyuga clan to the Senju clan. Of course, the above are all the explanations of the Hyuga clan to clarify for the Uchiha clan. Since it is not the Uchiha, then it must be the Senju clan. Don't worry, the Hyuga headquarters has nothing to do with my Uchiha, but the Hyuga branch is part of Baiwu Town. Uchiha uses Baiwu Town to ask for an explanation for the Hyuga clan. Soon, I will write a letter to my clan leader and ask him to dispatch the Uchiha clan to avenge the Hyuga clan. Uchiha Yu faced the Hyuga headquarters. Coming over, the ninjas spoke sincerely and seriously, as if the affairs of the Hyuga clan were the affairs of their Uchiha clan, which moved many of the ninjas who were watching. However, the Hyuga clan ninjas were all shocked when they heard this, because they suddenly realized that Uchiha Yu had set a trap for them. Now, it is no longer a matter of the Hyuga clan being destroyed. It is a question of which side the entire Hyuga clan supports. If they admit that it is the Senju clan, the Uchiha clan will use this matter to fight the Senju clan in the name of their Hyuga clan. If they do not admit that the Senju clan, then they must suspect that it was their Uchiha clan that did it, which is obviously a sign of defecting to the Senju clan. For a time, the Hyuga ninjas were in a dilemma. But in the end, the problem was solved. Although it was very painful that the Hyuga branch was destroyed, they did not want to continue to pursue the matter. For this reason, the Hyuga clan decided to withdraw the branch from Baiwu town. Uchiha Yu heard the decision of Hyuga ninja, with reluctance on his face, and tried his best to keep him. However, Hyuga ninja was determined to leave, and after packing up hastily, he took the only remaining Hyuga branch ninja away. So far, there is no Hyuga branch in Baiwu town. Uchiha Yu expressed great sadness about this matter, but Baiwu town still has to live. Therefore, in order to further reflect fairness, Uchiha Yu decided to collect the mineral resources around Baiwu town and then divide them again. And said that Baiwu town had unknowingly broken into such a terrible enemy, and it must be strictly guarded in the future, and people should be sent to keep an eye on the mine. However, the ninja strength of Baiwu town is insufficient, so a rotation supervision model is proposed. Some supervisors need to be supervised on a mobile basis, and in order to prevent these supervisors from abusing their power for personal gain, a supervisory organization must be set up. Once it is found that someone has damaged the interests of Baiwu town, then that ninja, including that ninja's family, will face punishment. Many ninjas in Baiwu town wanted to oppose these policies, but when they thought about the blood in the Hyuga branch that had not yet dried, everyone finally backed off and chose to acquiesce. At this moment, everyone knew how the Hyuga branch was gone. However, no one dared to say it, nor would they admit it. Because the big brother who had once led them to enrich themselves was gone. Now they still want to live in Baiwu town, and there is no other way except to behave themselves. The Land of Fire, a remote corner of the north where the Senju clan and the Uchiha clan were fighting, is the main tribe of the Hyuga clan. When the ninja who went to Baiwu town returned and told the Hyuga clan leader of this generation, Hyuga Hitoshi, about the situation there, the other party fell into a brief silence and whispered, "You did a good job." At that time, withdrawing from Baiwu town was the best choice. However, I just don't understand how the Uchiha clan dared to do this at this critical juncture. Did they notice something? Hyuga Hitoshi muttered to himself, and a figure emerged in his mind. That figure was once a genius of Hyuga clan. However, the genius was assigned a task by the clan. His Byakugan was dug out, and he was replaced with ordinary eyes, becoming an ordinary ninja, lurking near Baiwu town, as a base for the Hyuga clan to privately store Baiwu mineral deposits, and also as a transit point for contacting overseas ninjas. And that place was destroyed not long ago. Originally, that genius ninja could return to the clan. However, the war between Senju and Uchiha clan started again, and both sides were dragging it out intentionally or unintentionally, with the intention of involving many surrounding ninja clans. So, for the Hyuga clan, that Hyuga ninja chose to sacrifice himself. He wanted to use his last life to hurt the Uchiha clan, and then put the blame on the Senju clan, becoming the fuse for the escalation of the war between the two clans. If he was lucky, he might be able to take away a group of young geniuses of Uchiha clan. Unfortunately, the final outcome was not very good. His sacrifice did not have a very obvious effect. But his spirit was remembered by the entire Hyuga clan. Similarly, there were many Hyuga ninjas with the same spirit as him, waiting to contribute their own efforts to the clan. And this time, Uchiha's move caught Hyuga Hitoshi off guard. Although the Hyuga clan was afraid of the Senju and Uchiha clans, the two clans were also afraid of the Hyuga clan. They were all worried that the Hyuga clan would join any of the clans. It was precisely because of this that the Hyuga clan was able to survive in the cracks. Moreover, Over the years, the Hyuga clan has been trying its best to maintain this delicate balance. Dividing the Senju and Uchiha clans made it impossible for the two clans to cooperate. If either side showed signs of growing stronger, the Hyuga clan would secretly provide financial support to the other side. Even if the two sides were at peace for a period of time, the Hyuga clan would secretly send ninjas to cause trouble for them. Only by keeping the Uchiha and Senju busy and maintaining a state of hostility can they pay less attention to the Hyuga clan. If one day, the Uchiha and Senju clans win, and the other wins a big victory without damaging the foundation, then the Hyuga clan will immediately choose to surrender. If one side is seriously injured after winning, then the Hyuga clan will immediately contact various ninja clans to work together to strangle the weak clan, even if it costs some injuries. The Hyuga clan seems to be the third clan in the Land of Fire, but only the ninjas of the Hyuga clan know that they are still far behind the other two clans. The Uchiha clan, the main family, will never do this. No, it should be said that the Uchiha clan did not really decide to offend the Hyuga clan. All this is a trick. Hyuga Hikari calculated and soon realized the problem. Now that the Uchiha and Senju are in a stalemate, if the Hyuga defect to either side, the other side will greatly increase its strength. At this time, forcing the Hyuga clan to surrender in this way will easily backfire if the Hyuga clan finds out. From the overall situation, no clan leader will make such a mistake. So, there is only one left. The Uchiha clan has no intention of forcing the Hyuga clan, at least, they have no intention of moving the Hyuga headquarters. And the Senju clan is simply impossible. It is impossible to kill all the people in the Hyuga branch and leave only one Hyuga Shigenin. What's more, it is still in Baiwu town where the Uchiha is stationed. The Senju clan wants to deal with the Hyuga silently. It is not difficult to say how difficult it is, even if the Senju clan can do it. Wouldn't it be nice to have a team that can lurk in the heart of the Uchiha and give the Uchiha a heavy blow? Dealing with a Hyuga branch is not the main Hyuga family, it's just like using a cannon to kill a mosquito, a waste. So, after thinking about it, Hyuga Hitoshi found that this matter was actually a gamble. The person who planned it was betting that his Hyuga clan would not turn to any clan because of the destruction of a branch. And in the process, the use of Uchiha power and the ability of the Senju clan were also intentional, just to create topics. If this is the case, the other party's real purpose is not the Hyuga family, but simply to monopolize Baiwu town. Could it be that Hyuga Hitoshi thought of what the Hyuga branch did secretly in Baiwu town, and couldn't help but fall into deep thought again? If the Hyuga branch's embezzlement was discovered, it would make sense for Uchiha to do so. However, with the character of the Uchiha clan, it was beyond the expectations of the Hyuga clan to use such a strategy. When Hyuga Hitoshi thought of this, he called the last member of the Hyuga branch over and asked about the whole process in detail. This includes the bloodbath of the Hyuga branch and the reactions of the ninjas of various tribes in Baiwu town after the bloodbath of the Hyuga branch. In the end, Hyuga Hitoshi finally found the target. Uchiha Yu, a 7-year-old ninja, who is also the nephew of Uchiha Tajima, has made many contributions. Now he is assigned to Baiwu town. Is he valued or suppressed? In any case, this kid is not simple. I heard that Uchiha Tajima's son is very talented. Uchiha, there are really many geniuses. Hyuga Hitoshi muttered to himself, but his eyes narrowed unconsciously. An old man from the Hyuga clan nearby asked, "Riwan, are the Hyuga clan going to just swallow their anger? We have lost members of the entire branch, at least 20 clan members, and one of them is from the main family. Of course we can't just let it go, but I feel that Uchiha Yu might be more useful alive than dead." Hyuga Riwan spoke with a gleam in his eyes, full of calculations. After a long time, Hyuga Riwan whispered, "Perhaps, we should give it a push. Father, let me go." At this moment, a figure walked into the council hall. 2 flowers bloom, each with its own beauty. White Mist Town. The Uchiha elite team left. After the Hyuga clan left with the last ninja of the branch, the Uchiha elite team left. They came here just for a show, to solve some problems by the way. The real battlefield for these people is in the core battlefield. They may face the main force of the Senju, or collide with the elite of the Whirlpool, or fight to the death with the Kagaya clan. And no matter which one, it will not be in White Mist Town. Even if Uchiha Yu tried to keep them for a long time, no one agreed. In this way, Uchiha Yu understood that this group of people were the real diehards of Uchiha Tajima, and they could not be won over unless Uchiha Tajima could personally ask to hand these people over to him. However, this is basically impossible. If nothing unexpected happens, these people will either die on the battlefield or become the foundation for Uchiha Madara to ascend to the position of clan leader. All this is already destined. A few days later, Uchiha Tajima sent an order to hand over the task and then returned to the frontline headquarters to report. The ninjas who came to take over were none other than the 3 Jonins of Uchiha Jing who had left. After a year of training at the headquarters, Uchiha Jing's skills have improved a lot, and the other 2 special Jonins have almost reached the level of real Jonins. Baiwu Town has 3 Uchiha Jonins in charge, so it is safe. In this regard, Uchiha Yu did not say much. After briefly handing over the general situation of Baiwu Town to Uchiha Jing, he returned with the team. Originally, Uchiha Jing did not care much about the handover of the task, because he had been the mayor for so many years and thought he was better than Uchiha Yu, a fledgling kid. However, when Uchiha Ming explained the situation of Baiwu Town to Uchiha Jing, his attitude completely changed. This guy not only drove away the people from the Hyuga branch, but also occupied 70% of the resources on the surface, but through manipulation, he occupied 90% of the resources of the entire Baiwu Town. And this made the ninja clan grateful. What kind of method is this? He really wants to learn. However, Uchiha Jing looked at Uchiha Yu, who was not even as tall as his armpit, and couldn't ask for advice. Let's go. Uchiha Yu left, with a bit of elegance, and left with his Uchiha team. Uchiha Jing admitted that he was fooled by Uchiha Yu. After the work was done, he left with his clothes, hiding his merits and fame. If Uchiha Jing understood the charm of the culture of the great celestial empire, he might be able to describe what that feeling was like. One day later, Uchiha Frontline Headquarters. You've worked hard this year. Take a good rest and tell your uncle if you have anything to say. After Uchiha Yu returned to the clan, Uchiha Tajima personally met with Uchiha Yu. He was very enthusiastic and caring, but also had some unconcealable guilt. To this, Uchiha Yu just smiled and replied that everything was for the glory of Uchiha. He did not have any resentment towards Uchiha Tajima. On the contrary, because of Uchiha Tajima's decision, he stayed in Baiwu Town for a year. To some extent, he had to thank his uncle. As for his reduced reputation, is it important to have strength for reputation? If a person has no strength and has built up a reputation for a lifetime, a failure can make him lose his reputation. However, no matter how a person fails, as long as he has enough strength, he can start over at any time. Uchiha Yu knows which is more important. As the head of the clan, especially one who has been in a high position in the clan for many years, Uchiha Tajima knows more and more about how to control people, and at the same time, he is more able to grasp people's hearts. No matter how much a person pretends, he will be exposed. No matter how close a person acts, the feeling of true and false will be different. Especially for Uchiha, who is very sensitive to emotions, the contrast between true emotions and false performance is the strongest. However, Yu's performance made him very satisfied. It can be understood that he was so enthusiastic before because he was young and had no one to rely on, so he deliberately flattered himself. Now that he has grown up and has been tempered, he is relatively showing his true emotions. The most important thing is that Uchiha Yu knows his position. He listens to his orders when he should do things. He will not touch things that he should not do. Very good. Madara has mentioned you frequently recently. He said he wanted to have a good fight with you. And Izuna, he has also become much stronger in the past year. Go and have a look, your room is still there for you. Uchiha Tajima spoke, and at this moment, he looked at Uchiha Yu with a rare warmth in his eyes. Of course, Uchiha Yu nodded, and then left Uchiha Tajima, the place where the island is. What Uchiha Yu didn't know was that not long after he left, Uchiha Ming was summoned by Uchiha Tajima, and even the Uchiha who used to belong to his team. However, Uchiha Yu didn't care, because he never really expressed his true thoughts to these people. To Uchiha Yu, they were just subordinates, just a group of subordinates sent by a good uncle to help him. After leaving Tajima, Uchiha Yu went all the way to the other courtyard. After a day's journey, although he had rested in the middle, his increasingly sophisticated chakra control made him consume less physical strength when he was on the road, but the dust along the way would still make him very uncomfortable. At this moment, Uchiha Yu couldn't wait to go back to the room and take a hot bath, preferably in a bathtub, so as to relieve his tired body and heart. Then have a good meal. In Baiwu town, there were abalone, shark's fin, lobster, eel, octopus and tuna every day, and he almost vomited. Now, he just wanted to have something light. For example, marbled beef, roasted on a red-hot baking sheet, sizzling with oil, even without any seasoning. The pure aroma of beef and the light salt in the meat were enough to make Uchiha Yu drool. There were also the fruits that were abundant in the frontline garrison. They were flavors that he had never eaten in his previous life, but the taste was quite good. Every time he ate those fruits, Uchiha Yu would think that if he could return to the world of his previous life one day, he must get some seeds of these fruits and vegetables to plant in the Celestial Empire, and they would definitely sell well. Of course, just as Uchiha Yu was thinking about how to play badly in the next few days and faintly awaken the soul talent of the flower-growing family, his face, which was originally full of thoughts, suddenly froze. Puff! A kunai flew from not far away and hit his neck directly. In an instant, blood splattered. Uchiha Yu slowly fell to the ground, with disbelief on his face, as if he couldn't believe that he was attacked in the Uchiha clan territory. You, don't scare me. With your ability, how could you not even dodge a kunai? Not far away, Uchiha Izuna, who was hiding on the roof, saw this scene and panicked. He quickly came to Uchiha Yu. At this moment, Uchiha Yu stared at Uchiha Izuna in a daze. The blood from his neck flowed out and soon dyed a place red. Yu wanted to say something, but he couldn't make a sound. He could only stare at Uchiha Izuna, as if he couldn't believe that it was Uchiha Izuna who killed him. Of course, when Uchiha Izuna was stared at by Uchiha Yu and was extremely panicked, he suddenly felt something and seemed to realize something. He shouted, "No, it's an illusion." The next moment, Uchiha Izuna's eyes suddenly condensed, and a pair of scarlet magatama began to flow in them. The image of Uchiha Yu falling to the ground disappeared in front of his eyes, and was replaced by a cold blade, which was placed on the back of his neck at some point, and a leisurely voice sounded. "Dear Izuna-san, I haven't seen you for a year, you have made great progress, and you can even sneak attack. Watch out." Uchiha Izuna felt that he was being fooled, and he tilted his head away from Uchiha Yu's blade, turned around and drew out a kunai and attacked Uchiha Yu again. Uchiha Izuna has a good talent, especially the last time in Baiwu town, which made him accidentally open the Sharingan. Although he did not open it because his chakra ran out at that time, after returning to the headquarters, he gradually mastered this power through training. Uchiha Yu simply tested Uchiha Izuna's strength and found that he practiced the flame sword technique well, and used the fire style quite skillfully, and could show off a wave of Sharingan illusions from time to time. The overall strength should be between the elite Chunin and the special Jonin. The reason why Uchiha Yu couldn't reach the level of a special Jonin was that Uchiha Izuna had a not very obvious weakness. That is, his combat awareness was a little poor. Of course, this may also be related to his age. After all, it is rare to find a combat awareness as strong as Uchiha Madara among the Uchiha, and even Uchiha Yu was a little envious. And this time when he met Izuna again, Uchiha Yu thought at first that this was his act of not admitting defeat and wanting to save face with him. However, as the battle continued, Uchiha Yu clearly felt that there was something wrong with Izuna this time. In the past, even if Izuna couldn't beat him, he would try to leave some scars on him like a mad dog. However, this time, Izuna lost his will to fight while fighting. In the end, he even put the kunai directly into the ninja bag, said, "Boring," and turned around and left, leaving Uchiha Yu with a puzzled look on his face. What's going on? Uchiha Yu didn't understand, but he didn't really want to understand the complicated inner world of a 7-year-old boy who was obsessed with his brother, so he turned around and went back to his room. After entering the room, he saw that the furnishings in the room had not changed much from when he left. Through the Sharingan's identification of the smell around him, it was not difficult to see that someone often came to clean. In this regard, Uchiha Yu secretly sighed that his uncle was attentive. Although it was impossible to treat him as attentive as his son, as long as he did not cross the uncle's minefield warning line and threaten his son's future path, his treatment would also be at the son's level. What else could Uchiha Yu be dissatisfied with? That afternoon, the weather in the Frontline clan was a bit hot and humid. After taking a shower, Uchiha Yu, wearing a refreshing short shirt and shorts, sat next to the big tree in the courtyard, picked up a meat plate, and used the smokeless charcoal obtained from the destruction of the Hyuga branch to slice the fresh beef from the kitchen into thin slices, as well as some vegetables, mushrooms, and some local lobsters brought back from Baiwu town from the backpack. While frying the marbled beef on the iron plate, he put the mushrooms and lobsters on the iron rack above the charcoal fire to bake. With the aroma of fresh ingredients during baking, Uchiha Yu made a pot of tea for himself, and took out a cake and a fruit to make 2 platters. Barbecue, cakes, fruits, and a pot of tea, quietly appreciate the most beautiful moment of sunset. Today, it is cloudy. The sunset clouds, blown by the evening breeze, seem to be particularly charming. Especially at the last moment of the sunset, Uchiha Madara stepped on the last cloud and quietly came back from outside. As soon as he came in, he met Uchiha Izuna's resentful eyes. But Uchiha Yu didn't see much guilt on Madara's face, instead he looked perfunctory and said he would do it next time. After all, none of Madara's brothers died because of you. So, Madara's love for Izuna also happened to be wonderful is not so unique. It was not until he saw Uchiha Yu that Uchiha Madara's eyes lit up. You, when did you come back? This morning. Is that so? I went out in the morning. Tomorrow, I'll welcome you. I'll treat you then. Okay, then now, do you want some? Uchiha Yu pointed to some unroasted ingredients next to him. Madara was stunned at first, but then he found that he seemed to be hungry. He did not refuse and found a place to sit down. When Uchiha Yu saw this, he waved to the original place and said, Izuna, there is not much beef left. It is not enough for 3 people. Help me get some more from the kitchen. Uchiha Izuna refused Uchiha Yu's request at first. However, when he heard the words, not enough for 3 people, he suddenly understood something. After nodding his head, he went to do it. Not long after, Uchiha Izuna came back with a marbled beef, which was estimated to be at least 30 kilograms. This kid, is he too honest, or is he worried that his Oni-chan won't have enough to eat? However, Uchiha Yu had no intention of grilling meat. Because Uchiha Izuna didn't need him, and Madara, who was not good at expressing himself verbally, also needed such an opportunity to express his apology to his beloved Audiobook. During this period, he was only concerned with hanging out with his friends outside, but he neglected Izuna. The cool breeze at night blew slowly. Uchiha Izuna put meat skewers on Madara, handed them to Uchiha Madara for grilling, and then Uchiha Madara showed off his grilling skills. Although the beef was a little burnt at the beginning, Uchiha Izuna was very satisfied with it, revealing his thick black lips, with bloody teeth, chewing the 3/4 cooked meat skewers, as if it was the most delicious thing he had ever eaten. Madara also handed Uchiha Yu some meat skewers, and Uchiha Yu waved his hand to indicate that he was full. The moon tonight is a little cooler, as if it is about to indulge in the illusion of brotherly love for 2 people. Unfortunately, the people in this world do not know how to appreciate the moon. Even the existence of the moon itself is reminding people that there is an unknown person living there. The next day, Uchiha Izuna fell ill. Because he ate too much undercooked beef, he started to have diarrhea and fainted in the middle of the night yesterday. When the servant called him to get up in the morning, Uchiha Izuna's face turned pale, and he felt the same color as if he had been dead for 3 days. Uchiha Madara, who was about to go out for a walk, knew about this, hesitated for a while, and finally chose to stay to take care of his sick brother. On this day, although Uchiha Izuna was weak, he was very happy in his heart. Especially on this day, Uchiha Yu was not there, and all the attention of his brother belonged to him alone. Of course, there was a reason why Uchiha Yu was no longer there. After knowing that Uchiha Izuna had diarrhea, he was glad that he didn't force himself to eat the barbecue handed over by Madara last night. Uchiha Yu is not a person who doesn't understand romance, and he won't snatch his brother's attention from Uchiha Izuna, who is obsessed with his brother. If you have that time, you might as well practice well, or take a walk, and keep a good mood. Of course, the reason why Uchiha Yu was not there was because Uchiha Yu was asked by Uchiha Madara. Ask him to go to a place and pass a note to a person. In this regard, Uchiha Yu, based on Izuna's performance in the past 2 days and Madara's frequent outings, speculated that Madara definitely had a dog outside. No, it is very likely that he has become someone else's dog outside. Not right, well, that's almost what it means. And now, he was entrusted with an important task by Madara to secretly pass a message to his dog. Uchiha Yu originally did not intend to get involved in this matter, but he could not help but be curious about Senju Hashirama, the future god of the ninja world. It's not that he is curious about Hashirama's strength, but from the original work, Hashirama seems to be a bit of a loser. In addition to his perverted and invincible strength and naive and stubborn ideas, everything else is very loser, even Pit. Uchiha Yu really wants to see such a split person. So, Uchiha Yu agreed to Madara. Uchiha Yu can also guess why Madara trusts him. Because Uchiha Yu maintains a persona on a daily basis. He never gossips, nor does he ask about other people's secrets. If others are willing to talk, he is willing to listen. If others are unwilling to talk, he will not ask too much. Now is a good proof. Moreover, the most important thing is that the situation is urgent, and Madara can't find anyone else to entrust. Uchiha Yu shook his head and thought, but he had left the town unknowingly. Although he is young, his strength has been recognized by Uchiha Tajima, and he also has the right to enter and exit the town freely. Of course, when he returns, he must verify his identity to prevent someone from using transformation techniques to impersonate him and lurk in the town to cause damage. After leaving the town, Uchiha Yu followed the route Madara said and went upstream along a stream. Uchiha Yu did not worry about his own safety. Although this is the frontline occupation of Uchiha, there is a huge buffer zone in the middle. In the buffer zone, ordinary ninjas are allowed to pass by. Only those who really set foot in the area under the jurisdiction of Uchiha will be regarded as an invasion attack by Uchiha, and the situation of other ninja clans is almost the same. Going upstream all the way, Uchiha Yu cooperated with the instant body technique and arrived at the place mentioned by Madara in about 20 minutes. But there was no one waiting there. No, there was someone. When Uchiha Yu looked around, he found a young man quietly emerging from behind a big tree. However, the image of that young man was a little different from that described by Madara. He didn't have black hair and looked like a fool, but had silver gray hair and was younger than Madara described. Are you the Madara that I, Ni-chan, said? It seems that you are much shorter than I, Ni-chan said. Before Uchiha Yu could speak, the other party took the initiative, with a look of scrutiny and questioning. Uchiha Yu had only some guesses at first, but after hearing this, he had almost guessed the identity of the visitor. Senju Hashirama's younger brother, Senju Tobarama. Although it is not clear what the situation is, it seems that both Madara and Hashirama broke their promise at the same time. However, Uchiha Yu still chose to complete Madara's request first. Sorry, I am not the person you said your brother is talking about. Madara's younger brother is sick today, so he can't come today, so he asked me to come and talk to him. Uchiha Yu spoke, and he was not angry because of Senju Tobarama's attitude, and he didn't even show much concern for Madara and Hashirama's affairs. To be honest, he was indeed a little curious about Hashirama. But it was just curiosity. He didn't have any regrets about not being able to see him. After all, he didn't agree with or care about either Madara's or Hashirama's will. Perhaps because he saw Uchiha Yu's situation, Senju Tobarama, who was originally somewhat hostile to Uchiha Yu, restrained his aggression at this moment. After a moment of silence, he also said, "My elder brother accidentally had a stomachache yesterday and couldn't come today, so he asked me to come and tell him, but I didn't expect his friend to break the appointment. Maybe this is fate, meeting unexpectedly, but for some reasons, we have to separate temporarily. What you said makes sense, but why do I feel weird? Is there, maybe, anyway, my words have been passed on, why don't you just ignore my business and leave?" Uchiha Yu said, turning around and leaving directly. At this moment, two ninjas suddenly jumped out from behind Senju Tobarama and blocked Uchiha Yu's way back. Seeing this scene, Uchiha Yu slowly turned back and looked at Senju Tobarama, whose eyes were more scrutinizing. What do you mean? Nothing, I just want to know if the friend Nissan mentioned can really be a friend. Senju Tobarama spoke. His words were sharp, his eyes were full of consideration. Obviously, he wanted to learn more about Uchiha Madara from Uchiha Yu, or even to investigate Madara's true identity. Is it really an unconscious friendship, or an intentional approach? His stupid elder brother didn't want to, but as a younger brother, he couldn't help but think about his elder brother. Looking at the ninja approaching gradually, Uchiha Yu was really tied Q. Even sending a letter can encounter such a thing. It seems that in the future, Madara's matter should be as far away as possible. Things like love, hate, and vengeance, the protagonist may turn danger into safety in the end, but the lethality of the aftermath can kill a lot of innocent people. For example, someone killed someone else's family for revenge, and then the surviving daughter of someone else married someone else's son many years later for revenge, and then poisoned someone else's family, killing them. Although someone else's son was angry about what the woman did, the woman was pregnant and they loved each other. In the end, after going through many hardships and knowing each other's ancestral grievances, the two used love to resolve their grievances and lived happily together from then on. However, the family that was killed and poisoned was not only their fathers, but also some innocent bystanders. They might have just visited relatives, or paid a share of money for a banquet, and then they were gone. As for injustice, who can they complain to? Thinking of the relationship between Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama, how many things were posted because of the conflict between the two. At least, in Uchiha Yu's cognition, the Uchiha clan was completely gone in the end. As for the Senju clan, they successfully went into seclusion after the first and second generations came to power. As for where they went into seclusion, no one knows. Maybe it was some secret place that others didn't know about, or they had already quietly integrated into various places in Konoha. In fact, Uchiha Yu had nothing to complain about. Everything was just a matter of success and failure. If it wasn't Uchiha Madara who lost, but Senju Hashirama, if the first and second generations of Hokage were not from the Senju clan, but from the Uchiha clan, what would the result be? Perhaps, the Senju clan would not be much better than the Uchiha clan. If the final result is not that Izuna is killed by Senju Tobarama, but that Senju Tobarama is killed by a certain Uchiha, what will happen? Uchiha Yu looked at the Senju ninjas approaching him, and a faint light rose in his eyes. Tobarama, stop! At this moment, a loud shout suddenly came from the distance. A young man appeared from a distance, his body was shaking a little, his face was pale, and he looked about the same as Izuna. Nissan, why are you here? Tobarama, who is this? The young man had short hair, plain looks, and a carefree dress. The only thing that impressed him was that his eyes were very bright, as if they were full of hope. Senju Hashirama, the boy version. Senju Hashirama did have an upset stomach because he ate a half-cooked grilled fish that someone had cooked last night, but since it was the first time for the other party, Senju Hashirama naturally could not disappoint him. So, he also collapsed. Of course, what Senju Hashirama didn't know was that the second time Uchiha Madara knocked down a person as well. But that person's physique was not as good as his, and he is still lying in the family. Looking at the appearance of Senju Hashirama, Uchiha Yu thought of the character of Senju Tobarama in the original work, and suddenly a look of understanding appeared on his face. Hey, what's your expression? Senju Tobarama keenly captured the change in Uchiha Yu's expression. Nothing, I just feel pity for some guys. Tisk tisk tisk. Uchiha Yu didn't say much, but the playfulness at the corner of his mouth seemed to make Senju Tobarama more uncomfortable than saying it. Well, Senju Tobarama admitted that he was not sent by his brother to inform Madara, but he found that his brother often went out early and came back late recently, and didn't take him with him, which made him seriously suspicious. The naive and stupid brother, will he be deceived? After secretly tracking, he found his brother's dog outside. However, Senju Tobarama did not alarm the snake, but pretended to know nothing. When his brother had diarrhea and couldn't come this time, he quietly brought the ninja here to help his brother eliminate the crisis. Of course, if the other party has a bit of foresight, let the other party retreat when they see the difficulty, and don't have unrealistic fantasies, that would be the best. However, he didn't expect that this time it was not that guy who came, but a messenger. So, Senju Tobarama could only settle for the second best and prepared to test it to see which family the other party was from. Unfortunately, his brother actually came. Senju Tobarama knew at this moment that things couldn't continue, so he could only regretfully say, "Ha," and then waved his hand to let the two ninjas retreat and guard behind him and his brother. When Senju Hashirama saw Tobarama stop his hand, his originally serious expression was relieved, and then he looked at Uchiha Yu and said with a little guilt, "Sorry, my brother doesn't understand things, I apologize to him here." Senju Hashirama said, and bowed 90 degrees directly, with a sincere attitude and a very humble attitude. Even Uchiha Yu has a good impression of Senju Hashirama at this moment. He has a clear sense of right and wrong, and a strong sense of the overall situation. He may not be able to do well in some details, but with this kind of natural character, once he becomes strong in the future, many people will stand by him. In a more flamboyant way, this kind of person is a natural leader with a kingly temperament. And Madara is domineering. Uchiha Yu looked at Senju Hashirama, who was very humble, and his thoughts were flying, but he made his own response in time. "It doesn't matter, after all, it's a misunderstanding, just pay attention to your brother. Otherwise, next time I may apologize to you." Uchiha Yu finished speaking, waved his hand, and walked away. "Brother, what does he mean? Tobarama, shut up." Senju Tobarama wanted to say something, but was glared back by his elder brother. Senju Tobarama, his mind is relatively gloomy, and his insight is very strong, so he has certain calculations in many things. Of course, for his family, Senju Tobarama is very good. He hopes that his family will not suffer losses, and he is a good boy who is thrifty and can do housework. Of course, at a young age, he also has his own opinions, and some ideas, even if they are not mature, make Senju Tobarama feel that the future is promising. However, even though he is such a person who does not obey anyone and does not fear anyone, the only person who fears is his naive and stupid elder brother. It is not only because his elder brother usually sparred because he grew too fast and did not care about the severity, but the most important thing is that his elder brother's natural character made Senju Tobarama automatic. Once his elder brother got serious, no one could change the decision he made. Even his father. Once his elder brother disagreed with his father about one thing, and then he was hung up and whipped by his father for 3 days. Several canes were broken, but in the end, his father gave in. And he had disagreed with him many times, and the result was that his naive and stupid brother got angry and forced his brother to agree with him. So, from a very early time, Senju Tobarama understood a truth: don't mess with his brother. At this moment, his brother was serious. If he dared to shout again, Senju Hashirama would probably ask him to practice with him after returning. Thinking of his brother's talent, Senju Tobarama instinctively felt that he should let Uchiha Yu go this time. However, what Senju Hashirama said next made Senju Tobarama stunned, and even a little unbelievable. "Tobarama, that guy is not kidding. Nissan, what do you mean by that? Your actions made him want to kill you." "HMPH, so what, I'm afraid of him. Although I haven't fought him, he gave me a very dangerous feeling, especially when I told you to stop, he gave me a very dangerous feeling, very dangerous." "Impossible, how old does he look?" Senju Tobarama looked at the direction where Uchiha Yu was going away, with an ugly expression on his face. Others, Tobarama Senju, don't believe it, but he absolutely believes in his elder brother. He also believes in his elder brother's strength. If his elder brother gets serious, even an elite jonin may not be able to get away with it, and he may even be killed by his brother. Moreover, their mother is from the Uzumaki clan, and his brother has some awakened Uzumaki bloodline, and is naturally very sensitive to good and evil in crisis. There is no way that the elder brother will have a problem, so the problem must be with that person. However, can a person of the same age as him really be so terrifying that even the elder brother feels afraid? Just when Tobarama Senju looked unbelieving and complicated, Hashirama Senju suddenly laughed. "However, I feel that the guy hesitated when he wanted to take action, as if he was concerned about my friendship with Madara. In this case, he is actually not bad." Quote. On the other side, Uchiha Yu, who left, went downstream and returned to the Uchiha clan. Although there were some unhappy episodes in the middle, the result was very satisfactory. He met the future ninja god. Although it was just a few simple words of contact, the feeling was clearer than in the previous life anime. In the anime, Hashirama Senju's attitude was only towards Uchiha Madara and Tobirama Senju, and his attitude towards other people was not reflected much. Of course, the first 5 cage talks later did not count. It seemed to be a plea, but Uchiha believed that no one dared to say no at that time. At that time, the only hope of the other 4 cages was that the first generation Hokage would not give them a way to live. As long as there was a way to live, it is estimated that not to mention the free distribution of the tailed beasts, they were even ready to be killed. However, they had a reason to go. Therefore, in Uchiha Yu's view, Hashirama Senju's attitude at that 5 cage talks was not important, but his strength was important. Senju Hashirama. Not bad. Uchiha Yu recalled a series of actions of Senju Hashirama, pondered for a long time, and gave an evaluation. He is a wise man who is not only far-sighted, but also pioneering. However, it is a bit unrealistic to want to use his own ideas to bring peace to the world. However, it is undeniable that this system at least ended the Warring States period. Today's Warring States period is an era of chaos among ninja families. The ninja power of a country was unified with a force, and a new relationship between ninjas and countries was established. To a certain extent, it is a kind of alternative unification. However, it is the unification of ninja schools in various countries. If this model continues to develop, the 5 major countries are destined to clash over resource issues in the future, and then after several years, the 5 major countries may move towards complete unification for some reasons. Uchiha Yu is not sure whether Senju Hashirama has seen this future. But he knows that Uchiha Madara in the original work was fooled by Senju Hashirama. As he grew up, Hashirama Senju compromised with reality, choosing to do things for his generation and leaving the future to the younger generation. But Uchiha Madara always kept his original intention, wanting to rely on his own strength to make people get real peace, no more war, no more pain. In the final battle at the Valley of the End, it was not so much that Hashirama Senju killed Uchiha Madara, but rather that Hashirama Senju completely cut off his own innocence. This may be the reason why Uchiha Madara was disappointed with Hashirama Senju. Because the person who really deviated from the original intention was never Uchiha Madara. With the stubborn signs shown by Uchiha Madara now, Uchiha Yu felt that this was very likely. Thinking of this, Uchiha Yu couldn't help but touch his chin and secretly think about the future policy against Madara. If there was no black Zetsu in Madara, maybe it would be a good choice to dye him into my color before Hashirama established his outlook on life. But now, maybe I can only settle for the second best. Quote. Well, maybe I can draw a bigger pie for him, a pie that black Zetsu can use as a pusher. A thought came to Uchiha Yu's mind. He thought he was not a great man who broke the rules and reshaped the rules, but Uchiha Yu was very confident about dividing the cake. As long as you make the cake bigger and cover everyone's ambitions and expectations, then before your cake is made, everyone will become your helper. Uchiha Yu thought, and unknowingly returned to the clan. Without waiting for him to report to Madara, a ninja appeared in front of him and quietly invited him to Uchiha Tajima. Patriarch, you are looking for me. You, come and sit down. There is no business today. Just call me uncle. I haven't talked to you for a long time. Uchiha Tajima sat on a wooden floor under the eaves and said with a smile. At this moment, there was a small table in front of Tajima. On the table, there was a chess set from the world of Naruto. He pointed to the position opposite him and asked him to play a game with him. Facing Uchiha Tajima's attitude, Uchiha Yu was no longer as reserved as usual. After calling him uncle, he sat opposite him and raised his hand to start the game. Uchiha Tajima was stunned at first, then smiled and shook his head, but didn't say much, and followed suit. In this way, the two started chatting while playing chess. At the beginning, Uchiha Tajima asked Uchiha Yu about Baiwu Town, mainly about Uchiha Yu's life and cultivation in Baiwu Town. In short, it means that he put Uchiha Yu there for a year, purely to train Uchiha Yu, so that you can take up the responsibility of Uchiha in the future. In this regard, Uchiha Yu did not show much, just simply listened as a junior. After getting along for a few years, Uchiha Yu basically understood Uchiha Tajima's situation. Uchiha Yu will not comment on whether he is smart or not, but he is very good at capturing people's emotions. In this regard, Izuna has completely inherited this point of Uchiha Tajima. Therefore, for Uchiha Tajima, Uchiha Yu tried his best to express his most frank side, waiting for Uchiha Tajima to slowly get into the real core topic. Sure enough, after chatting for about 10 minutes, Uchiha Tajima casually asked after finishing Uchiha Yu's questioning. I heard that you went out of town today. Oh, I told his friend on behalf of Madara that he would not go today. Oh, Madara's friend, you met him. Originally, I couldn't meet him, but I met his brother first, and then. Uchiha Yu opened his mouth and told the whole story of what happened before. Of course, Uchiha Yu did not say much about the fact that Madara's friend was from the Senju clan. Because whether it was Senju Tobirama, Senju Hashirama, or the two ninjas, they were all in casual clothes when they came, without family patterns, and when he went to pass on the message to Madara, he did not wear a uniform with a family emblem. Therefore, Uchiha Yu did not intend to tell his bold guess. Uchiha Tajima fell into silence for a moment after hearing Uchiha Yu's story, and the chess piece he picked up was also suspended in the air. But in the end, Uchiha Tajima put down the chess piece in his hand, looked up at Uchiha and asked, what do you think of Madara's friend? Uncle, you shouldn't ask me this. Why, that's Madara's friend, not mine. You should ask Madara what he means. Moreover, no matter what the other party is like, Madara's attitude and thoughts are the most important to Uncle, aren't they? That's right, but I'm curious, what does you think of Madara's friend? I really want to know your evaluation. Evaluation. I just talked to him for a few words, and I personally feel that he should be a friend who can help Madara grow better. Yu Luo commented like this. This is very subtle, but Uchiha Tajima heard something vaguely. In the Uchiha clan, the word growth is very subtle. Uchiha belongs to a very delicate race, and will not waste any feelings on people they don't care about. However, for people they care about, the emotions shown by Uchiha are stronger than those of ordinary people. Therefore, there are often some bitter lovers, warm men, bootlickers, yanderes and other guys in the Uchiha clan. And what drives the Uchiha clan to develop in these directions is mostly the pains of growing up. For other people, the pains of growing up are when they know that they can't change the reality, and they let go after a period of loneliness and depression, and then move forward firmly. This kind of pain of growing up often becomes a necessary thing for people to mature. But Uchiha is a little different. After being stimulated, Uchiha will turn the pain of growing up into a kind of power. A power that attempts to change fate and open up some potential in the body. That is the so-called Sharingan. The appearance of Sharingan can make an Uchiha stronger, which can usually solve some problems encountered. Whether it is through violence or other means, it is likely to be solved. And the problem is solved, and the thinking of Uchiha also changed at this moment. Others would choose to give up. But Uchiha is unwilling to give up, and wants to rely on the Sharingan to go crazy first. After all, as long as the Sharingan has no limit, then the problem is not completely unsolvable. Therefore, in the original work, Madara's characteristic is that he will not turn back until he hits the wall. As long as he is completely defeated and has completely lost the possibility of a comeback, he will truly compromise with life. This is very Uchiha. Therefore, the so-called Uchiha is an evil clan, which is biased. The Uchiha clan just needs to be beaten harder by life to know the pain and be willing to grow. Many Uchiha ninjas who have come through the pain will gradually understand this. Therefore, in some powerful Uchiha ninja circles, there is a tacit rule. When parents see their children stepping into pits and hitting walls, as long as it is not life-threatening or will trouble their lives, some ordinary difficulties will pretend not to see. Even some will deliberately guide them to fall into it. Even more extreme cases will become obstacles on the road for children and the core producer of negative emotions. After understanding this, the observant Uchiha Yu once wanted to give Uchiha Tajima a suggestion to arrange a 9-year compulsory education for Izuna. Unfortunately, Uchiha Yu later realized that this model might affect himself, so he didn't dare to bring it up. Now that he said this, Seeing Uchiha Tajima's expression, Uchiha Yu felt that he had to go back and do ideological work for Madara and get himself out of this matter. After Yu finished his evaluation of Madara's friend, Uchiha Tajima, who was thinking for a moment, came back to his senses and found that something was wrong with the chess game. After a moment of silence, Tiandao asked, "Don't you know how to play chess? I've seen others play, but I don't understand. I'll teach you next time, you go back first." "Oh, okay." Uchiha Yu nodded, then stood up and turned to leave. Uchiha Yu went directly to Uchiha Izuna's residence. After half a day's rest, Izuna had recovered a lot of strength and was talking to Madara. At this time, Madara, who was quietly listening to Izuna's words, saw Uchiha Yu come back, but he stood up and asked, "You, how is the matter I asked you to do?" "Well, I went, but I didn't meet your friend at first, but met his brother. He seemed to be sick, and his condition was similar to Izuna. His brother originally wanted to come and tell you, but in the end, he rushed over before leaving. I told him about the situation and came back." Uchiha Yu briefly talked about his experience. Among them, he deliberately omitted the targeting of Senju Tobirama, and even said some good things for them. With the current development model, the tribulations of Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama, the young couple, are estimated to begin soon. According to the basic female mainstream novels he had read before crossing, at this time, he did not need to engage in any conspiracy but just tried to make everything more beautiful. Because only in this way, when the ending comes and the truth comes to light, it will appear more cruel. "I am so bad." Uchiha Yu was excited that he could add fuel to this bad relationship. What is a villain? This is it. Even if the truth is revealed in the future, even if what Uchiha Yu did in the morning is known, including the fact that Uchiha Tajima is looking for him, no one will think that he is wrong. On the other hand, Uchiha Yu, no matter what, he can brush up Uchiha Madara's favorability. After all, what is more trustworthy and comforting than the good Odudu who is only concerned about his brother's happiness and does not hesitate to risk his own safety? Who knows, at that time, he will compare Uchiha Yu and Izuna again. Look, Uchiha Yu unconsciously revealed a micro-expression when he thought of something wonderful, which was captured by Uchiha Izuna, who was sensitive to emotions. Although it is unknown what Uchiha Yu was thinking, Izuna's eyes had already handed a knife to Uchiha Yu. However, at this moment, Uchiha Yu was completely immersed in the joy of doing bad things, so he generously forgave Izuna's unreasonableness once. Well, in addition to this time, there were 34 other times when Izuna jumped in front of him, and there is still a long way to go. Chapter 51. Time is the most worthless thing. After this incident, Uchiha Yu resumed his peaceful and simple life. Chakra became more and more pure under the effect of chakra refining technique, and the control became more and more free. And the 5-attribute living body technique reached the maximum level, not only allowing him to obtain 5 attributes but also transforming the 5 attributes once. And the further refinement of chakra is another opportunity to promote the chakra attributes. Under the same chakra, Uchiha Yu will have a stronger effect than others in the ninjutsu because of the purity of chakra. And within the same ninjutsu range, Uchiha Yu not only consumes less chakra, but also produces stronger ninjutsu damage because the attributes are further refined. Let's take the simplest example. Others use 10 units of chakra to perform a great fireball technique, but Uchiha Yu may only need 2 units, or even less. Moreover, for the same state of great fireball, Uchiha Yu's destructive power is even higher when he uses 2 units. Fire escape can't kill people. Uchiha Yu is not ready to challenge this Hokage rule for the time being. However, if he wants to avoid being hurt by his sea-level fire escape, he needs to replace at least an A-level water escape. In order to make the fire escape smoother, Uchiha Yu even quietly practiced the seal technique. This is also one of the important choices for Uchiha Yu to use as the next compensation point. Clap your hands and you will get whatever you want. This is the ability that Uchiha Yu has always wanted to have. In addition to practicing chakra and fire escape, Uchiha Yu has been trying to develop no-seal ninjutsu during this period. With the refinement of chakra, his control over power is more and more from his heart. With all 5 attributes, it would be a waste if he doesn't do some special ninjutsu. No-seal ninjutsu seems to be a very cost-effective ability. The most famous ones are the future 50 to 50 Reikiri and Naruto's ball rolling. In this way, several months passed. Except for occasionally doing small family tasks, Uchiha Yu was completely silent in his own world, focusing on creating the unmarked ninjutsu. Of course, when it comes to creation, it is more about borrowing some principles mentioned in the original book. During this period, Madara approached him several times, saying that he wanted to introduce friends to him, but Uchiha Yu refused because of his social phobia. And every time he saw Yu who was concentrating on practicing, Uchiha Madara had a feeling of, is he slacking off? However, thinking of the relationship and exchanges with Hashirama, he felt that he had grown a lot. Especially Hashirama's firm dream, which made him see the direction of future struggle. And Uchiha Madara invited Uchiha Yu, that is, he wanted Uchiha Yu to participate. Although Yu was young, after several things in a row, Madara also saw clearly. Hashirama had a good overall view and could create what others could not. But Hashirama's idea was too naive. Therefore, Hashirama not only needs the help of his powerful partner, but also needs a smart think tank. And Yu's figure appeared directly in his mind at that moment. However, what disappointed Madara was that Yu was completely immersed in his own world, and seemed to be studying some powerful ninjutsu. He kept rejecting his invitation, and he could only postpone this matter helplessly. Anyway, Hashirama also said that he also had a good candidate, and he was hesitant whether to bring him into the team together. Take it slowly, changing the times is not overnight, and they have plenty of time. However, every time he saw Uchiha Yu, Madara still had a feeling of being surpassed. This feeling is like a school's first place chooses to take a vacation and relax for a while in order to combine work and rest. But I always see the school's second place, while he is combining work and rest, burying his head in hard study. This feeling, if he is surpassed, Uchiha's position as the first genius will not be guaranteed. However, Uchiha Yu does not care about these, nor does he care much about Madara's complicated boy entanglement. God will not let down those who work hard. Uchiha Yu's efforts finally paid off. Finally succeeded. It's not easy. Uchiha Yu saw the high-speed rotating energy ball in his hand, and his expression was a little complicated. Yes, complicated. The reason why it was complicated instead of excited was not because there was any problem with the Rasengan ninjutsu, but because he felt that his efforts in the past few months were a bit unworthy. Uchiha Yu followed Jiraiya's three-step training method. However, in just half a day, Uchiha Yu completed the 3 steps before his chakra was exhausted. However, when he tried to condense the Rasengan, he found that the Rasengan could not be condensed at all. The reason is very simple. After 3 steps, he did not have much understanding. And this problem, which has been bothering him for more than a few months, and he even felt that there was something wrong with Jiraiya's training method. Until one morning, when Uchiha Yu was free and tried it casually, he unexpectedly succeeded. Recalling the feeling when he succeeded, Uchiha Yu realized the reason for his failure. Control. His control over chakra was too strong, resulting in the chakra rotating in his hands actually rotating according to his manipulation, and the generation of Rasengan was more like a kind of energy rotating in a certain way, resulting in a natural phenomenon. Human power cannot produce nature. At least Uchiha Yu can't do it yet. Therefore, Uchiha Yu has never been able to make Rasengan. Now, after he created the Rasengan, Uchiha Yu has a little sense of accomplishment. To say that the Rasengan has brought him growth, he can only say that it is very little. In addition to giving him a lot of experience in developing ninjutsu, the Rasengan did not bring him much improvement. Although, Rasengan plus Sharingan plus instant body technique equals a killer move. However, Uchiha Yu has flame sword technique plus Sharingan plus instant body technique equals a more durable killer move. The consumption of a Rasengan is enough for Uchiha Yu to perform more than a dozen sword slashes. It is better to kill the opponent with a Rasengan than with a sword in 1 second. Therefore, Rasengan is a kind of chicken ribs for him. And this is also the reason why Uchiha Yu feels complicated. Although the ninjutsu was created according to his own ideas, he always feels that he has lost a little. I wasted several months and created a chicken rib ninjutsu. No, I don't believe it. Well, try to incorporate some attribute changes. Uchiha Yu was unwilling to create a chicken rib ninjutsu, but he continued to try. He has not yet mastered the nature change of the attribute, but because of the relationship of the living body technique, he can control the form change of the 5 attributes freely. While driving the Rasengan, add wind attribute changes to it. In an instant, Uchiha Yu saw that the Rasengan changed from the size of a palm to the size of a watermelon, and the color became brighter, with the center like white jade. Is this the big jade Rasengan? This technique is too crude. It seems that it can be modified. Uchiha Yu has extraordinary control over chakra. He manipulates the Rasengan in his hand and feels that he can further manipulate the Rasengan. The Rasengan incorporates changes in the wind. Uchiha Yu cannot change the internal trajectory of the Rasengan, but it is very easy to incorporate changes in the wind attribute based on the original. With a move of his hand, gusts of wind force condense around the Rasengan in Uchiha Yu's hand, gradually wrapping, compressing, and maintaining the Rasengan. The core of the wind is the flowing air. Integrate chakra into the wind force, allowing the wind force to temporarily replace the force that maintains the operation of chakra, so that the Rasengan can be wrapped in the wind. Then, as long as the wind is blown out, the Rasengan wrapped in the wind can be blown out together. Once the wind wrapped in the Rasengan is broken, the Rasengan will bloom. Uchiha Yu thought. His eyes became brighter. He began to try to manipulate the chakra. Half a day later, on a clearing in the woods, Uchiha Yu raised his hand, and a Rasengan appeared in his hand. The Rasengan grew larger in an instant, with bursts of wind chakra swirling on it, gradually forming a condensed wind blade. Uchiha Yu raised his hand and slashed at the distance, and the wind blade flew out at a very fast speed, instantly slashing on a large tree not far away. The wind blade was very fast, with a real sound of breaking through the air. But when the wind blade collided with the tree, the wind blade was not as powerful as imagined. The power of the wind blade only left a trace of less than half a centimeter on the tree, which was equivalent to a wind force in the strong wind turbulence generated by the wind escape breakthrough. However, after the wind blade was broken, a Rasengan appeared at the collapsed wind blade and collided with the position of the tree hit by the wind blade. The tree was directly twisted by the rotating force of the Rasengan, and part of the trunk turned into bursts of sawdust flying around. Seeing this scene, Uchiha Yu finally showed some smile on his face. The Rasengan can be thrown out, which is considered half a long-range move. However, Uchiha Yu felt that this move was not perfect. The speed of the wind blade is good, but the attack power is not enough and the condensation is not enough. This method is good for unexpected attacks, but once the opponent has seen it once, with the intelligence ability of the ninja, the next time he encounters Uchiha Yu using this move, the ninja only needs to use a shuriken to block the wind blade and break the close-range ninjutsu in advance. Thinking of this, Uchiha Yu felt that his road to the unprinted ninjutsu was a long way to go. So annoying. Uchiha Yu scratched his head and couldn't help feeling annoyed. He originally wanted to make a Rasengan to show off, but he didn't expect that this unprinted ninjutsu seemed simple, but when it was created, there were so many principles to master and so many considerations in all aspects. Find a place to sit down and restore chakra, ready to continue research later. Taking advantage of this time, Uchiha Yu opened his panel. Name: Uchiha Yu. Age: 7. Talent: diligence can make up for one's shortcomings. Skills: Chakra Refining Technique LVMAX 1/2 Instant Body Technique LVMAX, Flame Sword Technique LVMAX, Living Body Technique LVMAX, Great Fireball Technique LV6, Throwing Technique LV7, Transformation Technique LV5, Substitution Technique LV4, Clone Technique LV5, 1 Magatama Sharingan LV6, Seal Technique LV6, Eye Concentration Technique LV6, Rasengan LV3. Compensation points: 0. Backpack. Several items. Perhaps I can use the upcoming compensation points on Rasengan. Uchiha Yu looked at the Rasengan skill of only LV3 with some hesitation in his heart. During this period of time, Uchiha Yu also discovered a situation in the development of Rasengan. As he continued to use Rasengan and then studied the composition of Rasengan and other powers, he became more and more proficient in controlling Rasengan. At the same time, Uchiha Yu's way of rotating Rasengan was no longer just relying on instinct. The improvement of the skill level of Rasengan seems to make Uchiha Yu understand the operation of Rasengan better. This process not only reduces the consumption of Uchiha Yu's Rasengan, but also makes it easier for Uchiha Yu to integrate attributes. Thoroughly mastering the operation of Rasengan may have little direct improvement in strength. However, the study of the unprinted ninjutsu may be like adding wings to a tiger. Thinking of this, Uchiha Yu silently added Rasengan to his compensation point alternative skills. Uchiha Yu thought for a long time, but finally suppressed the idea. Although there are compensation points every year, it feels completely enough at the beginning. But yes, as time went by, Uchiha Yu felt that the compensation points were not enough. Relying on compensation points alone is still too slow after all. And using compensation points to upgrade certain skills is, to some extent, not worth it. Many skills, such as fire escape ninjutsu, only need to be studied and practiced hard, and it is not necessary to upgrade them to satisfaction. For example, the Great Fireball technique, what if it is at the maximum level? Become a sealess ninjutsu, or is the fire escape more powerful? However, even if both are available, it is not very powerful for the improvement of current strength. His current combat mode is basically fixed at Sharingan plus instant body technique plus flame sword technique equals instant kill. If one shot misses, flee far away. His current development direction is either to further improve his instant kill ability on this basis. For example, make his own attack more obscure, hide the killing intention, or after a shot misses, have a strong anti-reconnaissance ability when the body leaves the battlefield, quickly hide himself, and make it more convenient for a second attack. Even more, simply using compensation points to continuously break through this combo is not an extraordinary path. In addition to the extreme path mentioned above, either, or research other combos. The combo of flame sword technique belongs to instant close combat. The subsequent combos may choose to be long range, or they may choose to output continuously, etc. And this will inevitably consume more compensation points. Two paths, one is to take the extreme close combat, or may be invincible in close combat, but the obvious means and flaws will be very obvious. The other has a variety of combos, few weaknesses, and all kinds of fields are in full bloom, but it requires more compensation points. A little every year is not enough. But Uchiha wants both. Since the cheat is turned on, maximize the use of the cheat and become an all-round hexagonal warrior, hexagonal mage, hexagonal tank, shooter, assassin, auxiliary, etc. It would be great if I could find a way to quickly brush skill proficiency. Uchiha Yu thought with emotion. If the skills he learns do not require compensation points to be fully refreshed, he can use all the compensation points to break through each skill, and use the best steel on the blade, so that the benefits may be maximized. It seems that there is a way. Uchiha Yu suddenly remembered a ninjutsu. Multiple shadow clone technique. This ninjutsu seems to be able to recover one's own cultivation memory and perception through the practice of shadow clones. And he also has a gift of diligence. One effort, one gain. As long as his shadow clone is diligent enough, does it mean that he will gain more? Uchiha Yu's eyes became brighter when he thought of this. But soon, Uchiha Yu calmed down again. First of all, it is not known whether the multiple shadow clone technique has been created yet. Secondly, the multiple shadow clone technique requires a lot of chakra to achieve the effect of quantitative change. Finally, the multiple shadow clone technique has a lot of side effects. When the memory flows back, it is easy to collapse without a strong enough will. Not everyone has the resilience of Naruto. Even Uchiha Yu, who has lived 2 lives, does not have the confidence to reach that level. 3 aspects. The first aspect is easy to solve. The shadow clone technique is not a special secret technique. After Tobirama Senju is created, he can let Uchiha use Sharingan to copy the opponent's ninjutsu and then learn it. The second one is to find a way to improve chakra. For this, you need to further strengthen your body cells, enhance your vitality, and then open a higher Sharingan, etc. These are all ways to enhance chakra. However, if you want to reach the level of the tailed beast or Hashirama Senju, you may need more research and attempts. Finally, there are the side effects of shadow clones, which are also difficult problems that need to be solved. If he wants to practice with clones, he must go for quantity. And the more shadow clones, the more impact there will be. Naruto is such a tough guy, and he will fall into fatigue or even coma after splitting 2,000 or 3,000 clones. When he brushes skills, he will definitely have more than this. These things must be considered in advance. There are only so many compensation points. If you take the wrong path, it may be a waste of several years or more than 10 years. Uchiha Yu couldn't afford to gamble, so he had to be thrifty. However, no matter what, the clone training method still left a deep mark in Uchiha Yu's heart. Maybe he won't try it in the near future, but he will always verify it in the future. Concentrating his thoughts, Uchiha Yu began to study other changes of Rasengan again. With the success of the Big Ball Rasengan, it was also very easy to try other attributes. Wind Escape gave Rasengan more kinetic energy of wind, making it more destructive. Fire Escape made Rasengan produce blazing high temperature, the temperature could burn fine iron. Earth Escape made Rasengan produce a heavy feeling, making Rasengan as heavy as a lead ball, and the rotation force was more condensed. When Rasengan fell to the ground, it would not rotate and cut like Wind Escape, but drill a hole in the ground like a drill. Thunder Escape Rasengan produced a charged Rasengan. Once it came into contact with the opponent, the electrical energy would be transmitted first, which was equivalent to paralyzing the opponent in advance after hitting the opponent. From the Rasengan, Uchiha Yu vaguely saw some shadows of Reikiri. The reason why Uchiha Yu did not choose Reikiri to try was that he did not understand the nature changes of the lightning attribute, and secondly, he could not think of how to attach the lightning attribute to his hands without getting hurt. The Rasengan seemed to be able to solve this problem. If you borrow the inspiration of the Rasengan appropriately, cover the palm with a layer of protection, and then condense the nature changes of the lightning attribute in the palm, then Reikiri does not seem to be very difficult. Thinking of this, Uchiha Yu suddenly had a feeling. The Reikiri created by Kakashi may have borrowed from the principle of the Rasengan of Minato Namikaze to a certain extent. Well, in this case, can I also learn from it? Make a wind escape, fire escape, earth escape, water escape and other unmarked ninjutsu. Uchiha Yu touched his chin and thought, but soon, he realized a problem. Before that, he seemed to need to understand the nature changes of the 5 attributes first. It seems that the living body technique also needs to be further upgraded. Moreover, the lightning attributed living body technique seems to have the prospect of the lightning style ninjutsu. Uchiha Yu thought about it and found that the many skills he learned seemed not simple. On this day, Uchiha Madara came to find Uchiha Yu again. Before he opened his mouth, he was shocked to see Uchiha Yu's appearance. "You, what's wrong with you? Are you okay?" At this moment, Uchiha Yu was as desolate as if his brain stem had been drained. He sat in a daze under the big tree in the courtyard with his eyes empty. After a while, Uchiha Yu finally reacted from his own world and recalled after thinking about what Madara had asked. He was stunned for a moment, then shook his head and said, "No, nothing, it's just that there are some things I can't figure out, and I'm a little entangled in my heart." Quote. When Madara heard what Uchiha Yu said, he knew that he was worrying in vain, covered his face, and then said, "Let's go, you have been like this for more than half a year, no matter what you are studying, you have to give yourself a vacation. Come on, I'll take you out for a walk. Here, But this time, before Uchiha Yu refused, he was pulled outside by Uchiha Madara. Thinking of Uchiha Madara's previous invitations, Uchiha Yu came back to his senses, but he didn't continue to struggle, and went out of the clan with Uchiha Madara. Finally, under Madara's leadership, Uchiha Yu crossed a rugged dense forest and finally came to a place. That was not the location of the stream before, but a clearing on a cliff. In front of the cliff, there is a lush basin with lush vegetation and many streams. This is what Hashirama and I discovered. He dreams of ending the war and building a village here so that all the ninjas in the land of fire can live in one village. Uchiha Madara said this, and Uchiha Yu, who was still a little confused, realized the situation instantly. Konoha. If nothing unexpected happens, this should be the location of Konoha village in the future. Thinking of this, Uchiha Yu has a special feeling. In the future, this will be the place where the plot takes place. In the future, there will be a group of ninja stories that will spread to another world. Or in the future, there will be a story here that comes from the inspiration of someone in another world. No matter what, this feeling of participating in it and jumping out of it makes him feel very wonderful. Hey, You are here too. Just then, a voice came from the side. Uchiha Yu looked in the direction of the voice and found Senju Hashirama walking out of the woods not far away, looking like he had just arrived. Looking at the place in front of him, he said, Ban should have told you just now, build a place here so that all the ninjas of the land of fire can live together, understand each other, and live together. What do you think? Facing the familiar look of Senju Hashirama and the words of dreams, Uchiha Yu did not destroy the dream of a young man, because there would be more cruel things to destroy it. Very good idea, but I have a question. Oh, what's the question? Hearing Uchiha Yu's words, Senju Hashirama suddenly became interested. Now that his dream is just beginning, it is time to be recognized and given opinions. Well, why only let the ninjas of the land of fire live together? Do you look down on other small countries and the ninjas of the other 4 major countries? Ah, what? Is my question strange? Ah, the other 4 countries. Senju Hashirama looked at Uchiha Yu strangely, with confusion on his face. Uchiha Yu looked at the puzzled Hashirama, then looked at Uchiha Madara, without saying anything, but the meaning was self-evident. Your lover, you come to explain. Although Uchiha Madara felt that Uchiha Yu was thinking something bad, he also felt that Hashirama seemed to be a little embarrassed at this moment. He explained, there are many countries outside the fire country. Grass country, rain country, waterfall country, wave country, etc. These are all border countries of the fire country. In addition, there are 5 major countries, namely the thunder country, wind country, earth country, and water country. The strength of the ninja clans in them may not be as good as the overall strength of the Fire Country Ninja Clan, but there are also many powerful ninja clans. I see. Hearing Uchiha Madara's explanation, Senju Hashirama looked enlightened. Then he looked at Uchiha Yu and said embarrassedly, Sorry, I always thought there was only one country, the Land of Fire. So, you, right. What do you think? I think, yes, I really want to know your opinion. The joys and sorrows between people are not the same, and there will definitely be differences in ideas. Why do you have to know my thoughts? Just do what you think is right, right? Do what you think is right. Ha ha ha, Madara, your brother is really as good as you said. He actually said the feeling I have always wanted to express in one sentence. Senju Hashirama laughed heartily, and Madara was also infected by Uchiha Yu's words at this moment. Obviously, the 2 future trendsetters did not drink too much chicken soup, so the reaction was so big. An hour later, Uchiha Yu was originally going to leave private space for Madara and Hashirama to cultivate their feelings, but Hashirama seemed to be attracted by Uchiha Yu's thoughts full of life philosophy, but he kept asking him many things that he was confused about. For example, why is there a war? For example, why can't people understand each other? For example, why do ninjas have to fight to the death? For these, Uchiha Yu rolled his eyes. It was impossible for him to talk about more realistic or extreme topics in front of Uchiha Madara. Otherwise, by then, Senju Hashirama would break free from the dream of realistic extremism, and Madara would get deeper and deeper. In the end, he would solve the problem instead of the one who raised it. Time passed quickly. In the end, the communication between the 3 had to stop. Hashirama was reluctant, Madara was complicated, and Uchiha Yu secretly breathed a sigh of relief. To be honest, he felt that he couldn't say anything more. Because if he continued, it would be the Red Revolution. For this ignorant warring states period, it was not worthy of experiencing the baptism of the Red Revolution. Ban, I'll go back and digest it first, and we'll talk next time. Hashirama said goodbye to Uchiha Madara and Uchiha Yu, and the 2 of them went to the other side after Hashirama left, and returned to the Uchiha base from another road. Along the way, the 2 were silent. It was not until they returned to the Uchiha base that Uchiha Madara looked at Uchiha Yu and asked leisurely, Are those things you just said true? I just imagined them, but I always feel that it makes sense. Uchiha Madara spoke, but as a standard Uchiha who has lived in Uchiha for 7 years, Uchiha Yu felt that Madara's concern was definitely not these great principles of life. Sure enough, Madara changed his tone and said, but you never told me these things. Okay, Uchiha Yu understood after hearing this. Why is it said that there are few topics between women in the Uchiha clan? It's because the thoughts of this clan are as delicate as women. No matter men and women, Uchiha doesn't care whether what you say makes sense or not, what they care about is always your attitude. So, it is completely meaningless to explain anything to Uchiha Madara at this time. Now, what is needed is partiality, and you need to let Uchiha Madara understand that you are partial to him. So, Uchiha Yu looked at Uchiha Madara indifferently, sighed lightly, and said, Madara, I told Hashirama so much because he told me his dream. But what about yours? Me. Uchiha Madara was stunned when he heard Uchiha Yu's words, and then fell silent. Uchiha Yu continued. Yes, although I didn't have much contact with Hashirama, I also discovered it in the brief communication. From the beginning to the end, it was just Hashirama who explained his dream and planned a world he wanted. Perhaps, you think that kind of world is not bad. But, in that process, in those ideas, didn't you feel uncomfortable? In those plans, didn't you feel that there was anything that needed to be modified and paid attention to? Even, don't you have a dream that is better and more grand than those dreams? Uchiha Yu spoke slowly. His voice was not loud, but every word struck Uchiha Madara's heart. Uchiha Yu looked at Uchiha Madara, who was still silent, but at this moment he couldn't help but fall into deep thought. Uchiha Yu didn't say anything more and walked away. According to Uchiha Yu's understanding of Madara's personality, this guy would never have the same idea as Hashirama, and if the reincarnations of Indra and Ashura really had the same ideas, there would be no entanglement in the past life. There is definitely a fundamental difference between them. This difference means that they cannot walk hand in hand forever. At least, there can be Hashirama in Madara's world, but it definitely does not belong to Hashirama. Similarly, there can be Madara in Hashirama's world, but it definitely does not belong to Madara. So, you left, waiting for Madara to truly understand what he was thinking, and then go find him. Madara doesn't fit in with the world constructed by Hashirama. Rather than waiting for Uchiha Madara to understand and the entire Uchiha clan to be ruined, it is better to let him understand this earlier, and then draw a bigger pie for him when he is confused and undecided. A big pie that can make Madara full, White Zetsu full, Uchiha Yu full, and even the entire Uchiha clan full. Madara, I really look forward to what your dream is. I have several packages waiting for you here. Uchiha thought to himself as he returned to the villa. And at this moment, a ninja appeared not far from him. Uchiha saw the ninja and couldn't help but sigh softly. What is coming has finally come. Then, Uchiha Yu followed the ninjas and went to Uchiha Tajima's residence. This time, Tajima was wearing armor and was still covered in dust, but he was wiping and maintaining a short sword with a white cloth. Master Clan Leader, are you looking for me? Yes, I just came back from the battlefield and heard some news, so I asked you to come over to confirm it. If nothing unexpected happens, Madara's friend should be from the Senju clan. Senju. Yes, although I don't know what the Senju want to do, I will never let them succeed. Is that so? So the clan leader is going to let me do it? No, I will solve this matter myself, but Madara may have a gap with me because of this matter. I don't want to explain anything, but later. I understand, uncle. Uchiha Yu looked at Uchiha Tiandao, and in the end he didn't call the clan leader, but called him uncle. Uchiha Tiandao heard this and smiled. This time, it was a relieved smile, relieved that Uchiha Yu made the most correct choice. Uchiha Yu is not right, what's the point of wiping the knife there, bullying him because his knife is not good? However, Uchiha Yu kept comforting himself in his heart. Just bear it, the average life expectancy of a man in the Warring States period is less than 30 years, especially Uchiha Tajima who led his clansmen to fight other ninja clans, he will not live for many years. Just treat it as a filial piety in advance, so that after he dies, he will not tell his parents in this life that they have never enjoyed his blessing. You go, I don't want Madara to know about this. Understood. Uchiha Yu left without any hesitation. After Uchiha Yu left, he went directly back to the villa, and then pretended that nothing happened, waiting for Madara to break up, and secretly kept in touch. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. 7 days passed. Then, Uchiha Tajima sent someone to find him again. Patriarch, I have been staying in the other courtyard for a while. I have never seen Madara, and I have not had any contact with other people. That's not what I'm asking you. Madara has not been out since he took you out. Don't you have anything to tell me? Ah, what does this have to do with me? It's none of your business. According to my information, when Madara didn't take you, he would take 3 hours every day to meet with the Senju, but after taking you there once, he stopped going. Do you think it's your business? I didn't do anything. Well, then tell me in detail what happened that day. Okay, that day, Madara took me to a place where the Senju was waiting for him. Then I know that they seem to want to work together in the future to unite the entire Fire Country Ninja clan to build a village, and then Uchiha Yu told Uchiha Tajima everything that happened that day. Because Uchiha Yu has always been cautious and never does things that make him regret. Of course, he was also very frank in taking responsibility for all his actions and words. After all, on the surface, he didn't know whether Hashirama was from the Senju clan or not. Uchiha Tajima was not as cautious as Uchiha Yu in these actions. He was completely attracted by the dream planning process that Uchiha gave to Hashirama Senju. There was no way. Hashirama's dream was to gather all the ninja clans together, and everyone lived in a village peacefully without fearing each other and fighting. This was all Hashirama's dream. And Uchiha Yu, like the college entrance examination essay, extended a systematic thing based on this route. Even Uchiha Tajima, who heard it, saw a little feasibility. Then, Uchiha Yu asked Madara about his dream, which also made Uchiha Tajima realize what state Madara was in at the moment. This is the reshaping of the outlook on life. As long as it is guided well, the future Madara would not be confused and hesitant, and would become a qualified clan leader, leading the Uchiha to continue to survive. Why didn't you tell me these things earlier? Ah, clan leader, you didn't ask. You won't tell me if I don't ask. As a standard Uchiha, I think doing is more useful than saying. No, now you say it's more useful than doing. Clan leader, I don't agree with this. I'll take you to the secret library later. I heard that my uncle arranged it. Well, this way, then this way, then. Uchiha Tajima opened his mouth, but he gave Uchiha Yu some explanation. After hearing this, Uchiha Yu's face was a little hesitant. Uchiha Tajima's instructions were very simple, that is, let Uchiha Yu bring Madara to meet Hashirama, and then let them confront each other and reveal each other's surnames. At that time, let Madara make a choice. Uchiha Yu can only use one word to evaluate this plan. Rough. Too rough. Isn't this using family sentiment as a moral kidnapping to force a child to make a decision he doesn't want? Can doing that really make a young man truly loyal to the family? Can such a decision really compete with the blueprint of the ninja village of mutual understanding between people, outlined by Hashirama? However, what does it have to do with him? There has never been the most correct decision in this world, and it is not necessarily the most correct decision. For example, Uchiha Yu did not need to offend his good uncle for the fate of Uchiha Madara's Senju, nor did he need to feel that his good uncle's plan was so rough and made his cousin upset. Disappointment makes people grow, and maybe Madara can open his eyes. Of course, the most important thing is that there is really something he wants in the Uchiha secret library. All at the command of the clan leader. Yeah, good, you always make me feel at ease. Everything is for the great future of Uchiha. Haha, good job. Uncle, it's okay, I'm leaving. Wait, is there anything else, uncle? Well, if Madara figured out what he wanted to do, how would you tell him? Well, I didn't know that guy was a Senju before, so It's okay, just say it, I don't blame you. Uncle, what do you want me to say? Uchiha Yu asked tentatively. Don't test me, I'm asking you. Well, that guy said that he wanted to bring all the ninja clans together to form a single entity and live in peace with each other. I think this is very hypocritical and very un-Uchiha. Hypocritical, yes, even if they are from the same family, there will be conflicts. Without even a blood bond, how can we talk about mutual understanding? That's right. What do you mean? My meaning is not important. The main thing is to prevent Madara from being led astray by the other party's ideas. Why should I, the great Uchiha, be the village chief? If I want to be one, I will be the king and unify the land of fire and other countries. King, unification. How can you have such a terrible idea? Moreover, this is totally unrealistic. Chief, I am just talking. Even if Uchiha can rule the world, the sacrifice is too great. I just want to give Madara a direction so that Madara will not be confused. Uchiha Yu shrugged his shoulders, with an appearance of, I am just fooling around, which made Uchiha Tajima fall into silence. And this silence lasted for more than an hour. Uchiha Yu left first, but Tajima looked at him and he knew he couldn't leave at the moment. And finally, Uchiha Tajima frowned and thought for more than an hour, and his Sharingan opened unconsciously. Finally, Uchiha Tajima closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and seemed to have made a decision in his heart. I said if. If you don't know that person is Senju, what will you do next? Let Madara make his own decision, instead of following other people's ideas. My great Uchiha has always been the leader, and it is impossible to assist others. Very good, you are a standard Uchiha. Now, in the name of the clan leader, I will give you a task. Clan leader, but please order. Forget about the fact that Madara's friend is Senju. I will give you half a month, and I hope you can let Madara and that guy take the initiative to break off the relationship, and let him fight with the glory of Uchiha. Uchiha Tajima looked at Uchiha Yu and stated his request. To be honest, this time, Uchiha Tajima had a gambling element in it. However, as a standard Uchiha, no one understands the situation of Uchiha better than him. Anywhere, once there are too many people, it is impossible to be really harmonious. Especially the Uchiha clan, which is prone to radicalism when they open their eyes. If they are not given something to do, they will easily collapse in internal friction. As the head of the Uchiha clan, he must not only be strong and able to convince the people, but also understand this characteristic of the Uchiha clan. This is also the awareness of a standard Uchiha clan leader. The responsibility behind this awareness is also the responsibility of the clan leader, which is to constantly find goals that all Uchiha clans are worth striving for. People always need motivation. Once they lose motivation, they will go to self-destruction, and the Uchiha clan is particularly prominent in this regard. Hearing about the ninja village plan of Hashirama Senju from Yu, although it was naive and stupid, he had to admit that the kid from the Senju family dared to think about it. In this regard, if Hashirama Senju was his son, he would have the mentality of the next clan leader. Of course, if his son proposed the ninja village plan, he would hang his son up and beat him for 3 days, even if it was Uchiha Madara. However, Uchiha Yu's rebellious idea just now opened a gap in his solidified thinking. A ray of light was revealed from that gap. A ray of light shines on the body, and as long as you think about it in your heart, you can feel something trembling all over. That is not fear, but the response of the Uchiha bloodline. Yes, as a standard Uchiha, and the Uchiha who controls all Uchiha, Uchiha Tajima naturally has his own ideas. However, for the sake of Uchiha, he has been suppressing his own ideas of Uchiha. And Uchiha Yu's words, like a virus, eroded his heart uncontrollably. That idea made Uchiha Tajima see another possibility for Uchiha. He may not be able to do it, but he can set a more ambitious goal for Madara, and then let Madara complete it with a firm will. Even if Madara fails in the end and falls on the road, as long as that will is passed on and continuously improved, then Uchiha will usher in a new vitality. Because that goal is big enough to accommodate everyone's ambitions, expectations, desires, etc. This task can only be completed by you. Quote, this, clan leader, the family secret library, twice. It's not a secret library or not, 3 times. For the great Uchiha, I'll try. Afterwards, I'll let you personally select a team from the clan, a team that truly belongs to you. Clan leader, I don't need it. This is the clan leader's order, and also a request from my uncle. I hope this team will be the sharpest knife of Uchiha in the future. For the glory of Uchiha. Quote, Uchiha Tajima understands Uchiha Yu, at least, Uchiha Yu wants his uncle to understand. Otherwise, how can he get the benefits he wants? Uchiha Yu left, leaving with a difficult task. Goal, break up a pair of friends within half a month. This is too easy. However, it is easy to break up a pair, and it is not easy to let the 2 guys have resentment towards him. In case the grudges are resolved and it affects him in the future, he needs to prepare well. It's time to sacrifice Izuna. Uchiha Yu narrowed his eyes slightly, and the tea-spirit all over his body was rioting. In the courtyard, Uchiha Izuna, who who was practicing, sneezed violently. This feeling, you that fool, is he trying to trick me again? Quote. Uchiha Izuna was scared of being cheated by Uchiha Yu, and instinctively came up with this idea. However, thinking about the fact that Yu had not had much contact with his elder brother during this period, his contact with him was basically just occasional brushing shoulders and there was no friction. I think I'm overthinking it. Uchiha Izuna shook his head and prepared to continue practicing. My dear Aududo, are you there? Just then, Uchiha Yu's voice sounded slowly, and Uchiha Izuna, who was practicing, almost sprained his waist. Fortunately, children don't have waists, so it was just a stumble. Asshole, it's you. Ah, what do you mean? Are you trying to cheat me, right? How is it possible? You are my dear cousin, how could I cheat you? Uchiha Yu looked at Izuna, his eyes revealing sincerity. Really, Izuna was suspicious, but he was very cautious in his heart. When Uchiha Yu saw Izuna like this, he shrugged and said, "It's okay if you don't believe me, but you must believe in Madara, right? Nissan, what's wrong with him? Tell me." Sure enough, when Madara was mentioned, Uchiha Izuna was no longer as calm and vigilant as usual, like a little puppy protecting food. Izuna, do you have a dream? Of course, I have only one dream from beginning to end, that is to stand behind my big brother, fight side by side with him, and make Uchiha greater with him. When Uchiha Izuna was asked about his dream, he didn't hesitate or feel confused at all, which made Uchiha Yu sigh. As expected of a brother control, although he had already understood the horror of it, he didn't expect that he could have such a tenacious will. So, Izuna, if you have to choose between fighting side by side with Big Brother and revitalizing Uchiha with Big Brother, what would you do? Of course, fighting side by side with Big Brother. Oh, why? Among the Uchiha, there are many who can assist Big Brother, but I don't feel at ease leaving Big Brother's safety in the hands of others. Uchiha Izuna's words were clear and organized, which surprised Uchiha Yu. He originally wanted to guide this kid, but he didn't expect that his thinking was clearer than anyone else. Uchiha Izuna knew what he wanted, and he knew what he needed to give up in order to get what he wanted. It seemed that he didn't need to instill enlightenment, Izuna already had it. Even if you encounter danger, you are not afraid. The day I decided to stand behind my big brother, life and death were no longer my concern. What I need to consider is that my big brother cannot walk ahead of me. Facing Uchiha Izuna's firm and unhesitating expression, even at this moment, Izuna's Sharingan unconsciously opened and circulated because of his firm words, proving his determination. Uchiha Yu really envied Madara at this moment. Madara has a good brother. Without such a good brother, it is estimated that he will be able to open a pair of Mangekyo again. Hey, Uchiha Yu suddenly felt that he had found a bright spot. He suddenly thought of an interesting and a little cruel idea. For example, now he tried to develop medical ninjutsu and master the ability to use the button eye. Can he wait until Uchiha Madara and Uchiha Izuna open their eyes in the future, dig out his eyeballs and install them in their eyes, so that they can help him open his eyes? However, Uchiha Yu just thought about this idea maliciously. It seems that the Mangekyo needs to wait until the day of Uncle's sacrifice to open. Well, it won't be open for a few years. We should cherish the time with Uncle even more. Hey, what are you daydreaming about? Ahem, oh, sorry, Izuna, I was distracted by accident. Uchiha Yu came back to his senses, coughed lightly, looked at Uchiha Yu and said, "Since you are so determined, as your beloved Nissan Biao, it's time to teach you something." Humph, I'll teach you. Really, you don't want to know why you, a brother of the same age, can't compete with me, Biao. Uchiha Yu wanted to refute, but the facts and the painful lessons of the past made him choose to shut up. Of course, what really made Uchiha Yu silent was that he really wanted to get the attention of his elder brother, surpassing everyone else's attention. And in this regard, he had to admit that Yu was better than him. HMPH, how do I know if you are lying to me again? Uchiha Izuna snorted and asked back, while Uchiha Yu shrugged and said, "I won't lie to you. I think with your intelligence, it should be easy to tell the difference. Besides, no matter what I say, the decision is yours, isn't it?" Uchiha Yu knows how to praise people, especially when facing this kind of arrogant who wants to hear him continue to talk but can't save face. Control. Just like that, in the Uchiha villa. A child under 8 years old tells another child under 8 years old how to capture his brother's heart. One dares to listen, and the other dares to believe. Izuna, our first lesson today is called Need and Being Needed. Uchiha Yu said, and unconsciously took out a feather fan, which was made of some feathers he picked up from the family's clan land. These are the feathers left by the avian summoning beasts when the family ninjas use them. I don't know why, but every time the summoned beasts flap their wings and fly high, they seem to lose a few feathers, and even though they lose so many feathers, they are not bald. Uchiha Yu spoke with a tone of commanding the world, and it was like a voice from a previous life, emotional guidance expert. Izunai, you have to know that a man, well, a brother who always pays attention to you, may not really care about you, but a brother who doesn't even pay attention to you, definitely doesn't love you. One sentence made Izunai collapse and her eyes turned red. Well, that was really opening the Sharingan, which is usually the behavior of Uchiha when he doesn't believe in reality. Uchiha Yu coughed lightly, and the philosophy of life reappeared. But love is selfless. If you give up your feelings for your brother because your brother doesn't care, doesn't pay attention, and doesn't love you, then I can only say that such a person doesn't deserve love at all. To be honest, Uchiha Yu was almost unable to continue talking when he got to this point. That was the resistance reaction caused by the production of self-antibodies after drinking poisonous chicken soup for many years. He felt like he was feeding Izunai shit, but in order to make Izunai believe that it was curry, he could only resist the nausea and take a bite. Killing 3,000 enemies and losing 300 of his own, although he made a profit, it could not cover up the fact of loss. Uchiha Izuna was stunned when he heard the words of Uchiha Yu, the emotional mentor. In the past, no one had ever told him these things. Now, he felt that his horizons were opened by Yu. If you love him, bless him. If you love him, protect him silently. As long as he is happy, everything is enough. Blindly craving is not true love, but greed. Uchiha Izuna continued to brainwash. 3 days later, Uchiha Izuna finished brainwashing. Originally, Uchiha Yu wanted to give Izuna another 2 days of consolidation courses. But Madara came over. After thinking hard for more than 10 days, Madara now had a wrinkle between his eyebrows, and now he seemed to be confused and entangled. Madara, do you have something to ask me? You, what do you think I want to do? Madara spoke at this moment, his words were full of confusion. But Uchiha Yu saw Madara at this moment, but he didn't think so. He smiled and said, Madara, don't you already have the answer in your heart? Whether it is or not, be steady first. To deal with a guy like Ban, you can't tell him how to do it, but let him think about it. As for himself, he only needs to provide some ideas. Just like a family building a house, don't give them too many opinions before they agree on how to build it, because the house will be theirs after all, and how to build it is their own decision. If you give advice at this time, and the house is uncomfortable to live in later, then the problem will be on you. If you wait until the owner has an overall house plan, and then you give him some advice on this basis, or make some optimizations on that basis, then the problem will be small. Even if there are problems in the future, the problem is not on you. Because the house structure diagram is what the owner thought of, the problem is on him, and I also helped him improve it a little, otherwise the problem may be more serious. In other words, if there are problems in the future, you have to thank him for making the problem less serious. This is the art of speech. Quote. Quote. Ban was confused by Uchiha Yu's words, but his silence seemed to hit his heart. Ban, you may have already got the answer to some things, but you just don't want to accept it for some reason. Hehe, you really know me best. Ban spoke with a bitter smile on his face. Then, the confusion on his face disappeared, and he slowly said, I want to unify the entire ninja world, so that there will be only one country in the entire ninja world, and there will be a village in the country. Ban spoke, and his words showed the magnanimity of a standard Uchiha. It's a very ambitious idea. But I'm more curious about why you are confused. Ban has already said his dream, and you, as the dream planner of Ban designated by his good uncle, naturally needs guidance. No, not guidance, but to untie some knots in Ban's heart, so that he can walk along his dream without scruples, without hesitation, and without confusion. Uchiha Izuna, who was completely ignored, looked at Uchiha Yu's attitude and felt that he had learned something again. He always thought that his omnipotent elder brother would be confused sometimes. And when he was confused, he needed to come to Yu to ask. The best thing was that Yu could still make it simple for him. It was so refreshing. No, why didn't I feel wronged as usual when I was ignored by my elder brother? Uchiha Izuna suddenly realized a problem. Could this be the growth that you said? Uchiha Izuna thought complicatedly. Have I gradually become the person that my elder brother needs? And Uchiha Madara, in silence, expressed his concerns again. First, this dream is too big, and there will inevitably be struggles and sacrifices in the middle. He is not sure how many Uchiha will stand behind him at the end of his dream. Second, this dream does not require peaceful coexistence, but submission. Beat all the ninjas, cripple them, beat them to their knees, and use tyranny to make them completely submit. This is different from Hashirama's dream. Third, his strength is not enough to realize that dream. The strongest ninja he has seen now is only his father, Uchiha Tajima. However, Uchiha Tajima does not have the courage to pacify the troubled times and unify the ninja world. Although he is confident that he will be stronger than his father in the future, he is not sure how much stronger he can be and how strong he can be to carry his dream. Madara's ambition shocked and excited Izuna. The great Uchiha needs such an ambition. But soon, Madara's 3 questions also became the questions that Uchiha Izuna thought about. At this moment, Uchiha Yu suddenly laughed at this time. You, what are you laughing at? Do you think my dream is ridiculous? Sorry, I just think you are too worried. What do you mean? Madara, those problems may not be solved now, but not all problems necessarily need a solution. Your dream sounds difficult, but if you don't go out in person, how can you know the result? But, if your dream is liked by others, then even if you die, someone will inherit your will. If your dream is annoying, then after you die, there will be Uchiha to correct your mistakes. But that's all after you die. Dreams will only be understood by others when they are truly realized, and that's really feasible. Before success, all doubts, confrontations, misunderstandings, and even desertions are just steps towards dreams. Ladders are all nutrients for growth. Quote. Ban, you are not thinking about us, Uchiha, or Hashirama now. Rather, are you ready to endure loneliness, solitude, confusion, loss and other pains for your dream? Does your heart have the capacity to accommodate a unified country? Uchiha Yu looked at Uchiha Madara. His voice was still as leisurely as before, but every word shook Madara's heart like a huge bell. He had never thought about these. At the same time, he was once again shocked by the pattern of his little cousin. This little cousin has a strategy in his heart, but he is waiting for someone who is truly worthy of him to assist him. Can I? Ban was silent, and in silence, he inexplicably wanted to retreat. Because he was not ready. Ban left, and Uchiha Yu's words directly confused him. He needs some time to digest this. Uchiha Izuna saw this and instinctively wanted to comfort Madara, but was stopped by a look from Yu. Izuna remembered Yu's 3-day guidance, and didn't say much else, just quietly followed Madara, like a shadow, quietly following. Madara was confused, and remembered that he hadn't seen Hashirama for many days, and he didn't even send a message, and he couldn't help but feel a little guilty. He couldn't help but go to the river where he first met Hashirama. Madara, you finally showed up, you're so good. Just as Madara came to the river, Hashirama's figure appeared, with a relieved look on his face. Madara, who was still in deep thought, looked at Hashirama like this, and couldn't help but be stunned, and asked, You have been here all the time? No, I just come here for a while every day, you're so good. Quote. Sorry, Hashirama, during this period. It's okay, you must have been delayed by something, as long as you are fine. Hashirama Senju's performance made Madara feel even more guilty, but he showed a rare smile on his face in the past few days. That smile was what Izuna once wanted to have. But now, Izuna's eyes are more focused on Hashirama. This was his first time meeting his elder brother's friend. He had thought of many possibilities, including resentment, anger, jealousy, and even the idea of secretly killing him. But now, facing this ordinary boy, Izuna found that his emotions were a little wrong. White Lotus, heaven falling. These words came to Uchiha Izunai's mind. They were all the characters analyzed by Uchiha Yu for him in the past few days. The elder brother was easily influenced by green tea, but he loved White Lotus the most. There were also green plums that were not as good as heaven falling, etc. Izunai didn't understand it very well at first, and it sounded ambiguous. But now, he vaguely understood. At the same time, he also vaguely realized what character Yu had arranged for him. At this moment, Uchiha Izunai was even more silent, but the posture standing behind Madara was more relaxed and natural. There was only Madara in his eyes, as if there was no second person. Banara, this is. Hey, Izuna, why are you here too? At this moment, with Hashirama's reminder, Banara turned around and found Izuna following behind him. After speaking, he looked apologetic and wanted to explain something. Because according to his understanding of Izuna, who was ignored by him, should be very unhappy. But at this moment, Izuna did not give Banara a chance to speak, and said, I saw that Nissan was in a bad mood, and I was afraid that Nissan would get into trouble, so I followed him. Don't worry, Nissan, just do your thing, and I won't tell my father about what happened today. Uchiha Izuna said this, which made Banara stunned, and then said with relief, Izuna, I'm sorry, I haven't taken good care of you all the time, and I always thought you were a child. This sentence moved Izuna to tears. This is what he wanted to hear from his eldest brother. Although it was not what he wanted to hear most, it was better than before. It's useful, what you taught him is useful. No, hold it back, I have to hold it back. My character, Uchiha Izuna shouted in his heart, resisting the urge to say a few more words to his Nissan, and turned around and left 2 cool words. Nissan, I'll wait for you over there. Obedience, sensible, and not clingy. Uchiha Izuna remembered what Yu had told him. That, Izuna, right. If you don't mind, I also want to make friends with you. Hashirama spoke. With Yu's pearls in front of him, he couldn't help but become interested in Izuna and wanted to chat with him. And Izuna didn't turn around, but his voice was polite and polite. Sorry, I don't like to interact with people other than Nissan, I hope I won't cause you any trouble. Oh, that's it, sorry, I'm abrupt. It's okay, after all, you are Nissan's friend. Uchiha Izuna said, turned around and walked to the side. Hashirama looked at Izuna's figure with envy on his face. Hey, Hashirama, what's wrong with you? No, nothing, I just envy you a little. Envy me? Why? Because, just when Hashirama opened his mouth to explain something, a figure rushed out of the jungle not far away. Onijia, how many times have I told you not to sneak out, it's dangerous outside. It was a white-haired kid. Yes, it was Senju Tobarama. Madara glanced at Tobarama, then looked at the helpless Hashirama, he smiled. Hashirama's envy, it turns out to be here. Don't say it, there is no harm without comparison. Sure enough, it's better to have your own brother. Once compared, it's even better. Banara, I should leave now. Well, go ahead. Banara nodded, suppressed the idea of telling Hashirama about his dream, and turned around to leave. Hey, wait, just when Banara was about to leave, Tobarama called him, which made him a little confused. And Senju Tobarama saw Banara turning back, hesitated for a moment, and asked, who is the guy who came last time? What did he say to my Nissan, and why has Nissan been praising him all this time? Him, someone you will never be able to compare to. Who said Banara doesn't choke people? At this moment, Banara's words almost made Senju Tobarama explode. Except for his idiot brother, Senju Tobarama has never been inferior to anyone in his life. If you have the guts, pull him out and see who can't beat who. However, Banara didn't give Senju Tobarama any chance. After saying that, he left, leaving Senju Tobarama with a victorious attitude. Not giving the opponent a chance to counterattack, not seeing the opponent's counterattack, in some ways it is also a steady victory. Especially, for a competitive little brat. On the other side, seeing Madara coming so fast, Izumi Nai asked curiously. Nissan, so soon? Well, I have something to do today, let's leave first. Well, Izuna nodded and didn't say anything. At this moment, Izuna seemed to have a sudden enlightenment in his mind, and gradually evolved into a white lotus. In fact, Uchiha Yu didn't teach Izuna too much, but just let him understand some simple truths that many people ignore. People always struggle between needing and being needed. And if you want someone to pay attention to you, you must have your own value. Whether it is resource value, physical value, future investment value, or emotional value, etc. The higher the value you have to others, the more you are needed by others, and the more attention you will get. Uchiha Izuna is naturally sensitive to emotions. This kind of mind is often more delicate than ordinary people, and they understand human nature better. For such people, what is needed is not teaching. Sometimes, just a little guidance can instantly become transparent, just like a rebirth. If the communication between people is a love story, Madara and Hashirama fell in love at first sight, and there was something between them that they admired each other. However, in addition to these external causes and effects, as well as the fundamental differences between the two, meant that while they admired each other, they would also experience hardships and it would be difficult for them to be together. According to the mainstream female novels, Hashirama was Madara's white moonlight. And Izuna was a childhood sweetheart before, a childhood sweetheart who was less than a lover and more than a friend, and it was almost impossible to go further. However, after Uchiha Yu ordered, Izuna, who changed her mode, transformed into the original wife. What white moonlight, what lover, what confidant, these may occupy a large proportion in Uchiha Madara's heart, but when it comes to major issues, it is always the wise and generous original wife who suppresses the whole scene. Now, Izuna doesn't need to do anything. The only thing he needs to do is to make Madara familiar. Let Ban understand that no matter when, what the situation, or what the reason, there will always be someone behind him who will always support him. Madara is back, and although he is calm, no one knows what kind of waves are brewing in his heart. Even, no one knows whether those thoughts are mixed with Otsutsuki Chenxiong's will to save his mother. Uchiha Yu cannot calculate everything, but he is not worried about these. Because if you make a piece of cake big enough to accommodate everyone's goals and ambitions, then everyone will not mind giving your plan a push for their own goals. Even, willing to be Uchiha Yu's pawn. For example, Izuna, who needs her brother's attention. For example, Tajima, who hopes that his son will grow up and lead the Uchiha to prosperity. For example, Otsutsuki Chenxiong, who wants Madara to become stronger and reach the level of the 6 paths and start the Moon Eye plan. Even, the inner desires of many Uchiha clans, including the major ninja clans that have been tired of war after hundreds of years of fighting in the Warring States period. The pie needs to be drawn bigger. To pacify the troubled times, we cannot rely solely on absolute force, because that can only make people immersed for a short time. People should not only suppress the other party in strength, but also in spirit. Uchiha Yu sat under the big tree in the courtyard and pondered. His eyes were far away, as if he had traveled through time and saw the changes in the next 100 years. The special structure between the ninja village and the country, the struggle between villages, the competition between countries, and the crisis of the Otsutsuki clan. In today's ninja world, every Jonin is considered the backbone of the family, but by the time of the Fourth War, the 5 shadows were all soy sauce. Although the combat power of many ninjas in the Ninja Village era was weaker than that of the Warring States period, the shadows in each village were stronger than those in the Warring States period. Especially after Uchiha Madara and Hashirama joined forces to end the Warring States period, other countries felt the pressure and researched and created new ninjutsu at all costs. That era was a time of ninjutsu contention and a period of explosive combat power. Especially the sealed book developed by Senju Tobarama. Those not-so-complete ninjutsu, which showed their abilities later, could dominate the Warring States period if they found the right person to use them. Flying Thunder God Technique, Multiple Shadow Clone, Spiritualization Technique, and Impure World Reincarnation, etc. And later, Bloodline Limit, Blood Elimination, Bloodline Net, Yin-Yang Release, 10 Tails Jinchuriki. The turbulent century-old ninja world seemed to be quiet for a while, but it was always developing and moving towards becoming stronger. And the end of these developments, Uchiha Yu had already foreseen. Ninja World, Otsutsuki. The bloodline of Otsutsuki, starting from Kagaya, spread throughout the world like seeds under the guidance of chakra. As long as ninjas do not stop pursuing power, one day, people will discover the relationship between themselves and chakra, and the connection between the bloodline of Otsutsuki and the sacred tree. Then, it will continue to move in that direction. This process may take a long time. 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, or even longer. However, as long as this world does not perish, there will eventually be an existence similar to the Otsutsuki, and even integrate the special power of the native ninja world to become an existence that surpasses the Otsutsuki race. Uchiha Yu does not care whether he is the biggest beneficiary in this change. However, he must be one of the biggest beneficiaries. After coming to his senses, Uchiha Yu replayed the process of the drama of Madara Pillar Parting Ways. After thinking for a long time, he slowly stood up and went to Tajima. Everything is ready, only the east wind is missing. And Uchiha Yu has to discuss with Uchiha's good uncle how to make this east wind blow more appropriately. The next day, Madara left the town again, and Izuna followed Madara. Although Madara said that it was not necessary, Izuna still insisted. Izuna's attitude was not unreasonable, but simply expressed his concern for Madara's state. At the same time, he also said that he would not interfere with his and Hashirama's affairs, and even waited in the distance as before. In this regard, Madara felt that his brother was thoughtful and felt warm in his heart, but he did not think that there was anything wrong with Izuna. After all, compared to Hashirama's brother who was always meddling in everything and liked to make decisions on his own, his brother was too cute. Moreover, he was completely cute towards himself. What Madara did not know was that it was because of Izuna's existence that Madara knew that there was someone waiting for him, so he always remembered this when he was with Hashirama later. At the same time, he always remembered that he was an Uchiha. Even though he and Izuna were not wearing Uchiha uniforms, that kind of the hint brought by the existence of the body is lingering. Especially behind Hashirama, there is also a white-haired Tobirama, which makes it impossible for the two to truly and completely devote themselves to the resonance of each other's hearts. At least, it is impossible to show their completely unknown romantic nature in front of each other's younger brother. This subtle change made Madara calm down his feeling about Hashirama's superiority. During the conversation, he gradually became more calm and gradually stopped simply listening to Hashirama's future plans and began to show his own opinions. Among these opinions, some surprised Hashirama, some made Hashirama refute, and some made Hashirama surprised. Similarly, there were fundamental differences between them, and finally there was friction. In this process, the perfect Hashirama had flaws in Madara's heart. Madara discovered the limit of Hashirama's vision. Although Hashirama's ninja village plan is very good and has a lot of ideas, Hashirama imagined too beautifully the changes in the times, the hidden dangers brought by the ninja village model, and the possibilities after the creation of the ninja village. Although beautiful things are sought after and yearned for, they are often mixed with too much personal will and become a bit wishful thinking. Because sometimes, people stand on different positions, and even if they see the same scenery, they will have different perceptions. For example, the land of the future fire country is fertile and the people are thriving, but other countries are very poor. Under these strong contrasts, the peaceful coexistence promoted by the fire country is very ironic. For the people of the fire country, we yearn for peace and are willing to give up past hatreds, which is very generous. For other countries, the attitude of the fire country is more like a warning. It seems to be declaring sovereignty and telling people from other countries that the fire country will always be ours, and the resources and land you desire will never belong to you. You were born in a barren land, and you should always stay that way. Different environments and resources, so-called rules become a kind of constraint. The war has begun. As for the real reason for the start of the war, it is actually not important. People are not worried about scarcity but inequality. Human nature, which seems complex, is not difficult to understand in the hearts of those who have truly experienced it. Many people do not lack empathy, but because of the environment and life experience, they cannot truly understand those who have experienced hardships. Just as Lu Xun said, the joys and sorrows of people are not the same. If you want to communicate, then you must follow pain's philosophy and let everyone experience similar pain, so that they can understand each other. Just like after the establishment of the new country before the time travel, the first two generations did the things of the later generations, so that the later generations would have the wealth and stability. However, the later generations cannot empathize with the ancestors, and even feel that they cannot understand. And these later generations also have their own troubles. You in the previous life was a latecomer. And you in this life, in such an environment, is ready to feel the beliefs of the ancestors. That era when everyone has light in their eyes. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.